Shallow Cinema starts now.
This fall on Shallow Cinema, the first podcast you're listening to right now. Some stuff will come out in the future. That's it. Wait, no, they don't do the Inception sign anymore. Now it's just, I don't even know what it is anymore. So yes, welcome to Shallow Cinema.
I am Nemo.
I am Blackjack Bauer. And this week, we're talking about a bunch of trailers.
Yeah, it's great for a first episode of the new season because also, I guess breaking news, the writer and the actor strike is all completely done now.
I thought you were going to say breaking news. This is season 2 of this podcast.
No.
But yeah, we'll jump right into the news. The biggest news is strikes are over, tentatively. I don't think they've signed the stuff for the SGA, but
a lot has.
We're done.
Yeah.
And I guess they got what they wanted. It's a 3-year contract, so we'll definitely be in this spot again in 3 years. But yeah, now, sometime in the near future, you can look forward to stuff being made and actors being paid and real people.
Yeah.
And maybe even real writers writing it too.
It's actually kind of insane of how much has come out since those ended. Like, I feel like we've gotten a trailer every single day. Like something
the
new.
Studios are finally just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's like everywhere.
Don't worry, folks. We have stuff. We swear. We promise.
I guess a big one that happened early, I don't know, maybe yesterday afternoon is it's a trailer, of course, but it's like the movie already exists. But the Abyss is going back to theaters for one day, remastered.
I did not see that.
Yeah, James Cameron's original movie.
Is it the theatrical cut or the extended director's cut?
Of course, it's his extended director's cut.
That's cool. I don't think it's ever been shown theatrically. So that's
I don't think so. And yeah, all it was is the trailer showed off a couple of the classic scenes remastered, and it said from the man that brought you Avatar and Titanic.
So not even mentioning Terminator 2.
No.
The greatest action movie ever made.
No.
You know what I'd like to see them put?
Well, it was water themed. That's what they're going for.
I'd like to see that's true. I'd like to see them put True Lies back in theaters.
Remastered.
I mean, legit, that movie's not even on Blu-ray.
It would be cool. James Cameron has good work, especially his old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, with The Abyss getting it, I'm pretty sure Terminator 2 got a theatrical re-release not too long ago.
I believe it got a 4K remaster, but it's like one of those things where it's just an AI upscaler deal that some company made. I
feel like shortly after Avatar and the 3D boom, I know that there's a 3D version of T2.
Absolutely.
And I think that was released like Jurassic Park was done.
Yeah. Like 2010, 11 or something.
So, as a director, James Cameron's got, maybe as many, if not less movies than Tarantino.
Oh, yeah.
So at this point, I don't know, every year put one of them out there. You did Titanic last year.
You did Avatar last year.
I mean, that one, for obvious reasons, but yeah.
Still.
Give True Lies some fucking love. It's good. It's a good action movie.
I want to see that.
You might have something to say about this. I got a little bit of news. Live action Zelda movie is coming from Sony.
Yeah, officially announced too. I
love that it's been so much news, even though all it is just the announcement of we're gonna make it.
Yeah, we're making stuff. The Zelda thing being live action and being announced officially is really surprising, considering it's they announced the Mario movie in an E3 presentation. So for them to do Zelda just kind of out of the blue is actually kind of bizarre.
I wonder if that was a Sony push, look,
probably.
But also, how do you feel about it being live action?
I'm one of those people that I'm just kind of waiting until we kind of see some first glimpses. You can always, we can talk about this a little bit too, but with Zelda in particular, no one's going to be happy with whatever they make. It doesn't matter. There's some. You
don't think so? I mean, again, I'm not a Zelda fan, but I know most of the games take place in their own universes. There are some direct correlations to one another, but so this movie could theoretically just be its own thing.
It could be.
Or I would assume you would put it into Breath of the Wild.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, but it's hard to tell. A safe route would be doing the storyline from the manga that was released. It was like a little book in the back of the Hyrule Historia. That's kind of the first Link out of all, and it goes directly into Skyward Sword, which is the first game in the series.
I just feel like doing this live action, and again, coming from someone who's not invested, but could be excited. I feel like live action, it almost would just look like anything else.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not big into fantasy, but I love Dungeons and Dragons. There's a multitude of reasons probably why that didn't hit the mark, even though everyone critically loved it, but didn't make its money. Zelda's gonna make its money even if it sucks.
Yeah, it's the Mario deal of it will make its money back.
But at the same time, it's just you could do it with animation. Again, me thinking of Breath of the Wild is also do it in the style of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
and it also would kind of be timeless almost because again, I feel like that cell shaded look. What's the other cell shaded Zelda game? Was it the one that he's on the water?
Oh,
Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker.
That's from what? That's 20 years old now or something.
I want to say that game came out 2002-ish. It was on GameCube.
And you know, I think it still looks good. I think it looks good because they went with that cell shaded look. So its graphics didn't really age or date. Again, it doesn't really matter for a movie because you could pull some old classic Disney movies and like, yeah, this is a classic. This looks good. But I don't know. I just feel like it would give it more character to be animated as live action. I mean, as cool as I'm sure for Zelda fans to see it come to life, it'd be cool, but like, I don't know. Again, I feel like it would just be like, yeah, that looks like Lord of the Rings. That looks like Dungeons and Dragons, except that mute kid's wearing a green hat.
Yeah. And I think my big thing with it too is if they do it in a really unique way, I think maybe stylizing it like the way the first Hobbit movie looks would be a good route to go, where it's still brightly colored, it's not dark and dreary.
So you don't mean the 30 frames per second bullshit?
Not that stuff. Okay. Just the way that first movie looks, like especially
because I mean that would give it a unique look.
It would, but I feel like because it's Sony, because they're gonna cut corners. They always do.
I don't think. Nintendo. I'm curious what this deal was.
Me too. Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, also with it being Sony, I do feel like. So this is going to be garbage then?
It's really surprising that Universal isn't making it.
Are you going to shove Spider-Man into this somehow?
Yeah, it's part of the multiverse. We'll get a Link Spider-Man in the next
I guarantee you, though, on some fucking cave wall, Link's going to walk past and be like, is that a Venom symbiote?
Yeah, R2-D2.
It's been here too.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes because, yeah, I'm just going to save my judgment until we see.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to. It's literally just like we're going to make it.
A really good example is when they were making the first Witcher series, and those first test pictures leaked of the wig.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
but then once I saw the first season, like I like this, and now that he's gone, I'm like I don't like this.
They ruined it, but still.
Big news and something that I hope we're not going to review unless Nemo tells me we have to review it. The Marvels.
Yeah.
Big bomb.
Yeah, probably the biggest.
Bigger than Oppenheimer.
Oh.
That's, I mean, thank you, Christopher Nolan. $200+ million budget, estimated to be around 275, which I think puts it close to one of the most expensive ones.
Yeah.
Opened in the U.S. with $47 million for its opening weekend, which is not good.
And when I looked last night, I think the number was 46, so I guess an extra 1,000 came in overnight.
But that also marks it as the worst MCU opening.
Yeah.
Being beaten by The Incredible Hulk, which a lot of people probably don't even consider the MCU, but I mean, it is.
And a ton of people didn't even see it, like just because
the universe hadn't started
and
yet.
No one gave a shit about the Incredible Hulk.
And that opened with $55 million.
That's
crazy. That was
2009.
12 years ago.
It was 2009. Jesus.
I have seen mostly not bad reviews, middling reviews, but I did hear one good review that was just like, it's fun, it's fine. And also it's like, if we'd gotten this 8 years ago, people would be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it just feels
too
late.
Even that positive review I feel like is based on, well, compared to what we've gotten recently.
Yeah.
This is pretty okay. Other than Guardians is an outlier. We're not going to consider Guardians.
Because I'll watch it.
I'll watch it on Disney Plus.
Like I haven't had time to go to the movie theater for anything recently, but
in the positive review, the guy who reviewed it, he said he thought it was better than the first Captain Marvel.
That I'm not surprised by.
But even the middling reviews, everyone is praising. I'm just going to call her Miss Marvel. I can't think of the actress's name.
Iman Vellani is her name.
Thank you. I knew it was like Iman something.
Yeah.
That she is the bright spot of the movie, and it's not even necessarily the character. She is an actress. Like when she's on screen, you're like, yeah, I like this. Maybe because you watched Miss Marvel.
Yeah, because I wanted to be a train wreck,
and maybe this is also part of what made that work too. Is obviously the character of Kamala Khan is a fangirl getting to now be with the Avengers, and I didn't really get this, but like. I guess that actress is also like, and considering how young she is, like, well, yeah, you grew up watching the Marvel movies, so like this is also literally now you're getting to play with it. Because
the video game Avengers that came out
is the same idea.
Kamala Khan was the main character, and she was so horribly written that it made the game hilarious. And I was kind of hoping for that because I was like, oh, this could be the biggest train wreck ever. But then she was decent. Like the show itself was like, whatever. But it's like it was better than what I wanted it to be because I wanted it to be just the worst thing ever.
And I'm not comparing them directly, but it's maybe a little bit like the Black Widow movie. And even though I don't hate on Hawkeye, I actually enjoyed the show overall. But a big stand-up for Hawkeye and Black Widow was Florence Pugh and her her character, whose name now I'm blanking on.
I have no idea.
Let's say it's Yelena, but I'm probably wrong. Somebody will write it.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, her name is Yelena.
To where she's just like, again, like,
I thought you meant her hero name.
What a delight. Well, they haven't given her one yet, but in the comics, it's White Widow.
Okay.
Pacemaker. Our Black Widow too.
I like Pacemaker
because she's gonna make your heart stop.
Yeah.
And she's just, the character in the way Florence plays is like, well, this is just delightful. Like I enjoy her. To where again, I know everyone's gonna be
Thank you, Christopher Nolan, once again.
Would hate on it and be like woke and women was like, I don't know, if you want to put Kamala Khan and White Widow in a movie together and fuck it. I mean, look, Haley Steinfeld was fun as Kate Bishop too. I mean, sometimes she was annoying, but that's also who that character's supposed to be. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do notice like, oh man, all the young new Avengers you're setting up. It's like, well, they're all women and people are definitely going to hate that. But I don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me.
The other thing, if you hadn't seen this bit of news, the MCU is making some changes. I assume this was probably in the works. And then after this weekend was this is what we're doing.
Yeah, they confirmed it. And also, I haven't watched it yet, but apparently Loki was a resounding success.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet
and
either.
People are saying it's the best thing they've put out since Infinity War.
And again, without spoiling, because I haven't seen it, but whatever happens in the finale, I guess kind of confirms, like, I don't think they can recast Kang or...
Yeah.
Because that's now the discussion is like, do you even do Kang? Or like, I think there's been some rumors that like they can bring another villain in, which is like, well, then for me, the obvious one would be like, bring Doctor Doom and just have him fucking kill Kang and be like, I'm the bad guy. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And also at this point, no one's going to care. So next year, 2024, we're only getting one MCU movie. That is Deadpool 3, which is, in my opinion, kind of tangentially an MCU movie.
Yeah, because it's also Sony.
No, that was Fox. So now it's entirely Disney.
Yeah,
but
my
it's,
bad. Yep.
You know, he's not part of the MCU universe, but now he will be because of this movie.
I mean, he's already time traveled shit, so yeah, they'll do
this is going to be the first R-rated Marvel movie. So in that sense, you could say we're not getting any MCU movie next year because, you know, parents, you're not taking your kids to go. You shouldn't take your kids to go see Deadpool 3. So Captain America 4, which was and Thunderbolts was supposed to come out. Those have both now been moved to 2025.
Yes.
Which obviously is going to scoot back everything else. I assume there may be some stuff that just gets.
I mean, the shows are still going to come out. I mean, Echo comes out very soon, which we'll talk about.
I'd almost imagine the House of Harkness, like unless they've shot.
Yeah, I think they've shot a lot of it.
But as we've seen now too, it's like that doesn't matter anymore.
It does not matter one bit. I'm sure that animated show, the second season of What If.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll come. So I mean, you still have more Marvel stuff, but.
Right.
And Bob Iger has come out and said, like, quality over quantity, and quality has suffered, which, I mean, it has.
Yeah.
But if you could have gotten away with this, you would still be doing it. The point is, it's bad. But speaking of all of this Hollywood greed, Mr. David Zaslav,
our friend once more.
Making some more moves.
By the way, before we talk about him, I'm taking out the HBO music for the feature presentation because I'm tired of Zaslav. So I don't even want to use HBO music anymore.
They don't even use it.
Yeah, fuck them.
First, not movie related, but game related. I know I texted you this. In an age where live services were all the rage, and even segueing from talking about Marvel's The Avengers, which shouldn't have been a live service and is probably a big part of the reason why it failed. And now you can't play it because they just turned the server off. So
yep, womp womp.
And after a horrendous showing of the Suicide Squad trailer, to where they pushed the game back a whole year.
It's still not out, yeah? Like
no.
Yeah.
They don't even have a release date on it. But apparently they're not going to take the live service stuff out. I guess they're going to rework it somehow.
Sure.
Because he's doubling down on that and wants to turn all of their single player IPs, naming Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, into live services for increased prolonged profitability and monetized engagement. And I read this in Forbes. So this wasn't just like nerd talk.
Yeah, fucking
even Forbes was like, I think he's kind of missing the mark here because those are dying. Even the poster child of it, Destiny, has plummeted this year to the point where Sony laid off, what was it, like 20%?
Oh, it was huge
because they missed a huge. I don't know if Sony had raised their expectations for its profitability, and even beyond that, even if Destiny had still been doing good this year, the other issue is just like with the Battle Royale thing when that blew up, there's only so many people to go around. So if you all are flooding the market with this, like there's only 2 or 3 of these games, these services that are going to work and last.
I mean, look at stuff like
and a lot of
Overwatch. It's dead. Like
and that was
stop playing it.
And that was built to be. I mean, not necessarily a live service, but it was built to be a constant online thing, which I guess is a live service. But they didn't
didn't qualify it
as that just yet.
Yeah, there's no single player, so there's no.
But taking something it wasn't meant to be this and trying to make it that, like, the audience has shown you, like, that's not what they want. And you're gonna ruin an IP. You're probably gonna cause a whole studio to get closed. You probably didn't want to make whatever you're making them do in the first place.
It's gonna continue to damage the overall brand of whatever IP you're shilling to. So,
and then on top of that, then he goes and tries to Batgirl another movie.
Oh, great! Which one was this one?
So Coyote versus Acme, starring John Cena and Will Arnett.
So Looney Tunes?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this was greenlit 3 years ago, so before Zaslav took over.
Right.
And it was set to be an HBO Max original. I assume now it's being set up to go theatrical because Zaslav's like, no, we're not doing that. But that decision, I'm like, it's fine, whatever.
That would have placed this around the same time that the second Space Jam was made.
Coming out.
Yeah.
Now, this movie is practically done, and they're going to shelve it. This is a $70 million movie.
Okay.
And the tax write-off was going to give them $30 million. But here's the thing. If Warner Brothers can't release a Looney Tunes movie...
That's it.
What is wrong with you? That is your literal that's your thing.
That's the only thing, really, that they've had. Like,
and all of the test screenings, it scored in the 90s or above. So this is a completed movie that has had test screenings that everyone's like, yep, like this.
This is insane.
With John Cena in it. James Gunn produced this and helped write some of it. So also something even James Gunn's attached to that you've given DC over to, not safe from this. And you're still losing
I don't even understand.
$40 million. And here's the other thing I kind of learned, didn't realize the tax write-off thing. You realize what that means is you and I paid for it. Our tax dollars are paying for their tax write-off. So a lot of people are arguing, well, if that's what you're going to do, then it should just become public domain because we already paid for it.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to lock it in a vault and it's just going to go away. Make it public domain.
This is going to be
You'll still get your $30 million, which I guess is all you want. So fuck it. But also, how do you not see that this would very likely have done very well and probably been profitable? Would have been, I'm not shitting on Blue Beetle, would be more profitable than Blue Beetle. Yeah. I do not understand the moves that he's making.
Is it to fund all the name changes of the stupid app?
One thing I did read is that and this is, I guess, a common corporate move of he's damaging the books and the finances now so that any moves he makes later that bump things up, it looks like a bigger improvement than what it maybe really is.
That might have worked better back in the days where not everyone had instant access to everything you do.
Also, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we know it doesn't matter. That's what part of the actor strike was all about too. Studios literally make every movie look like they're not profitable, and we've known that for decades.
Oh yeah.
They're not going to stop doing it. They're just going to find another way around this. But I guess obviously tons of people came out. The director's like, I've spent 3 years of my life working on this, and I'm proud of, and everyone that poured their hearts into this, which is also the other thing is like, this dude apparently moved to London or to England to do some of this so that it would cost the company less. But regardless of that, artists worked on this for
this
3 years of their lives.
It's an animated project.
And some of the people who saw it also were comparing it to like Roger Rabbit as far as live action animation mixing.
And that hurts to not see that because I didn't like Space Jam 2, but
I mean, nobody did.
I don't think
it's literally written by an AI.
Kids did. Kids really
don't know any better.
But there was a movie in like 2003 or something. It was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Is that the one with Steve Martin?
Yeah, Brendan Fraser.
And Jenna Elfman.
I really like that movie. It's really fun.
I think a lot of people consider that to be like the last good one that they did.
I could say so. And the mix between live action and animated in that movie felt so good. I would be really excited to see a mix of that.
Well, so the composer even was leaking some of his music. He's like, well, I guess you're never going to hear this. And again, everyone who worked on it seems like they're really proud of it. Apparently, they just released like a behind-the-scenes sizzle reel that also showed like, yeah, everyone looks like they're having a great time making this movie. I guess enough of a stink was raised that Zaslav he's not back down. They're not going to put the movie out, but he's now allowing the director, he can go shop it to somebody else. And here's the thing. Amazon had already made an offer beforehand and was denied by Zaslav. They're like, we'll take it. We'll pay this much for it.
That is interesting.
So it's not just the greed of this. It is, again, in whether or not Batgirl, and that's I think why people were coming out and saying, and some other people in the industry who had seen it saying this is a good movie. They came out really quick so that Warner Brothers couldn't kind of do what they did with Batgirl, saying this is a bad movie and that's why we're not going to put it out. Again, I'm not saying, who knows? Batgirl might be bad.
It probably would have been terrible.
But also, then again, who fucking knows that you had Brendan Fraser in there? You had Michael Keaton back then, that matters because he was in the Flash too. But maybe it is at the worst decent.
People would have seen it just for Brendan Fraser.
And at this point now, someone else hypothesized that they're locking all these movies away so that 10 years down the road they can drop and be like, "Hey, remember that stuff we didn't show you? Do you want to pay us to see it?"
Yeah, like
We'll show it to you.
Like a vault opening.
I learned
bullshit.
that the tax write-off is literally you never release this movie and you get this tax write-off. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of all this shit.
I think the other reason he's backpedaled or that they're allowing this to be shopped is also realizing, like, do you realize the damage you're doing to our brand of Warner Brothers that nobody, because apparently a lot of directors called their agents and were like, cancel my meetings at Warner Brothers. Like, I'm not.
That's amazing.
Because what? Because why would you want to go work there if I can literally finish a movie and you're just like, no, nah, we're not going to put this out. The worst part of this is there's a ripple effect too. As soon as Zaslav made that Batgirl move, you've had now other studios and other streamers following suit. Where, I mean, again, Disney pulled Willow. Yeah. Whether or not you liked it or not doesn't matter. People did work hard on that, and they're definitely as fans of it. And it was there for a month.
Really,
and now it's
short.
Literally gone. Like you just nope.
You have to pirate it if you want to watch it.
Which people probably choose like, we're just going to go pirate it.
Why would you not at this point? It's crazy.
So yeah, this literally feels like an attack on art.
That's a really good way to put it.
I don't believe this man gives a fuck about art or cinema. He's straight up bottom line businessman who comes from Discovery, comes from reality TV. Good or bad, and whatever you fucking feel about it, reality TV is also super cheap to produce, easy to produce.
You can do a shit ton of it. Really.
I think you see he didn't change any of his business mentality in taking over Warner Brothers and HBO. He's just running it just like he did there. And I'll give the guy credit. He did save Discovery and he brought them up. But this isn't the same thing like this.
Yeah, at what cost?
And Warner Brothers is, if not our oldest, I mean, it is one of our oldest and most prestigious film studios.
I mean, Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse appearing in a movie together in Roger Rabbit was an event. Like, that was an actual... It's crazy that we're seeing this kind of a thing. That's how big the rabbit was.
What we're watching him do, the clear fact that I think we've all probably seen some stuff now where we're like, did an AI write this?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it's not terrible, but, like, it just seems
off,
bland. And like everything else I've seen before, nobody is making anything they want to make anymore. They're making what they're being told to make by the studio or by an algorithm.
Which is what the writer strike was all about. Because people are like, oh, this IP sucks. This movie sucks. What? The audacity that those writers want to get paid more. And it's like, bro, it's the studio telling them to write this shit.
And I know I made this point in Guardians, but that's part of the issue with the MCU is even if Nia DaCosta, who directed The Marvels, had a vision for it, and I'm not shitting on whatever she did do with it, it's not her movie. I think she would even tell, like, yeah, it's not my movie. It's Kevin Feige's movie. Hey, you should go in with a plan, not just shoot a bunch of stuff and then figure it out in the room. We didn't see the creator, but I've heard that it looks amazing. Yeah. For being, I believe, under $100 million.
Yeah, it was under.
And part of it is, because he went in there and he knew exactly what he needed, what he wanted, what he needed to get, and how thusly to shoot it. Instead of, I don't know, shoot a bunch of stuff and like, we'll have the digital artist figure it out. While they're like, you'll have me do what? Yeah. I thought you said I get to see my family this weekend.
Exactly. Like it's nuts.
I think that wraps up my news.
And lastly, Spielberg is telling Scorsese that Killers of the Flower Moon is his magnum opus.
Probably is. I haven't seen it.
I'm ready to watch it. I mean, Brendan Fraser's in it. The Boy.
It looked good to me.
Yeah, and I like Scorsese's movies.
And to lead us into our main segment of trailers, also part of Geeked Week. I don't know how I feel about this title from Netflix, but
see, I didn't even know what that was until you texted me. I had to Google it.
It was all this shit came from that. We also got the teaser for Jurassic World Chaos Theory, and I'll let you.
That was actually funny. It was a leak. The Japanese, I believe, their company accidentally aired the trailer. I guess
the animation studio.
Yeah, they were queuing it up for like their social media thing. So it had a random ass drop in the middle of the night on on a Saturday or a Sunday. And of course, the internet took it. Everyone got DMCA'd with it like overnight, and then they officially released it worldwide like a couple days ago. So it was not supposed to go out.
I just learned that the entirety of DMCA was something that was written like 25 years ago. Yeah. By a bunch of white dudes who had no idea what the internet would become. And so it's literally an outdated fucking legal precedent that needs to be revisited, and it's not going to be. But.
Yeah. So that was really wild. Really all it is a teaser. We knew it was coming. It got announced, like just the trailer.
Does the animation look on par with or better than, because this is a sequel to Camp Cretaceous?
Yeah, it's like an in-universe sequel, so it's not another season. and it's hard to say if all the characters will return.
I'm assuming the kid at the end is the character.
Yeah, that's
because that was the thing for like, well, I guess if I watch this, then I would know what this is. For me, it's just like, cool.
He's
brown
the main
kid.
character, Darius, and arguably he is probably one of the strongest Jurassic characters overall. So it's cool to see him as an adult.
So this is a time jump as well. Because
Camp Cretaceous takes place exactly the same time as the original Jurassic World, which was in 2015.
Okay.
And it extends over a year, and the series ends right as Fallen Kingdom happens. So they aged up at the end of this series finale anyway. So this is another time jump because it's been a few years.
And this is presumably after Dominion.
It's probably during.
Oh, we'll get to find out how they solve the locust problem. Because that's really what I'm interested about.
It seems like what they're going to do is what they did with the Camp Cretaceous show.
My sarcasm was evident there.
Yeah. It's going to be what everyone wanted from the movie. It literally.
Oh, we misjudged what you wanted. Our bad. Well, we'll make this show.
Which is what the first 3 seasons of Camp Cretaceous was. It was like, oh, this is the kind of stuff I would have wanted from Fallen Kingdom.
So, does this animation look like a step up or just on par with?
I think you can tell it's the same models, but it is a bit of a step up because some scenes were not as well animated because, I mean,
they run out of time and money.
Yeah, but there's like the big action scenes always look fantastic because that's what they spent their time on. So I think it looks pretty good. All we saw from the trailer was Darius jumping out of a car, and we saw a T-Rex running through traffic and stuff.
What's the studio behind this?
DreamWorks.
Oh, it's just DreamWorks Animation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess nothing's come out about them crunching or killing their employees.
No, they ruined the How to Train Your Dragon IP. They made it modernized and gave kids cell phones and like made it in the future, and everyone hated it and no one's watching it.
In the third one, or is there a show?
It's a show.
I didn't. I've seen the first one.
Yeah.
I like the first one.
For all 3 of them are good, and all the shows that came out were good except for the new one.
All right. Well,
I'm a big fan of How to Train Your Dragon. The second one is probably the strongest.
Maybe someday I'll see that. I'm also becoming a big fan of like, you know what? Not everything need to be a franchise. Did you tell the story here that you needed to tell?
You know what? I don't know if we've talked about this before, but How to Train Your Dragon is getting a live action adaptation.
Of course it is. I think we had that. It's called Dragonheart.
Yeah.
So now we'll properly move into our trailer discussion. And I feel like a good segue from talking about dinosaurs is talking about apes.
Yeah.
Probably the first, that was literally what we are going to do in this episode regardless. And then it just became like, oh, we need to add this one.
Oh, yeah.
This came out. I think all we're going to talk about today is trailers.
Yeah, it really threw a wrench in our plans. A monkey wrench.
Good.
Thank you.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Dr. Zaius.
Clearly a continuation of
Dr. Zaius.
The new
Dr. Zaius.
first 3, but I feel like this isn't a soft reboot, but it is, I think, going to just be
trilogy.
its new thing. A couple issues. I had issues with this trailer.
Let's hear it.
First of all, I mean, the monkey CGI looks good.
Yeah.
But one of the opening shots where like a bird lands on one of the monkey's arms was like, oh, that looks less real than Eagly.
Oh, yeah.
Or even any of the animals in Prey.
I'm kind of surprised.
Which I just think like probably not done.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm surprised we even got this teaser. This movie was announced that it was being created like a while ago, like I think in 2020, and we had like concept art as it's like a followation of like the announcement. So it's been like going on for a minute, and I'm a really really big fan of the 3 Planet of the Apes movies. They're some of my favorite movies overall. I think each one kind of stands on its own too, which is really rare with trilogies. And I don't know. I feel like historians and maybe even the man himself would feel really bad that the first thing I think of when I hear the name Caesar is an ape and not Julius Caesar. Caesar.
I do want to call out as we talk about this. This is being directed by a man named Wes Ball, who I guess his biggest claim to fame thus far would be he directed the Maze Runner movie.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I didn't watch him, but like visually speaking, like they looked fine. But he's also who's going to be doing the Zelda movie.
That is interesting.
So dude's getting his paychecks.
I really like the trailer. I like seeing all the apes. I like seeing.
What do you think the story is?
It's hard to tell because like we know it's a trilogy, and
I mean I feel like the first one trilogy was also doing this of like you're kind of rebooting the original, but in a way you're leading us back to the original.
Yes.
So assume like we're getting closer to the astronauts.
Well, see that
coming back to Earth.
Yeah, because in the first movie
they go.
We know they are. It's in the background, but it happens.
And then it's not. That's only in the first one. This next year they don't talk about it because
there's no reason to.
Matter.
Yeah,
it's just explaining like this is what happened to Earth.
I feel like that's the thing that would happen with like the second movie is having the people return.
I feel like the last one of this trilogy will be.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
like I'm not gonna say where do you go after they get there because the original series was here's where we're gonna go after they get here, but it's like I don't know if you really want to make all that because that shit got real weird and real dumb.
Yeah.
I feel like it would just be more impactful to have that third movie either be them crashing here,
yeah,
or end with look, there they are. Like, oh, you guys are in for a shock.
I think that
and of course putting the Statue of Liberty shot in there.
Of course, a big thing with this, I think the clans are going to be fighting is a big part of it. Like we got some of like the combat.
We need a new Koba.
Yeah, pretty much. But it'd be neat to see like okay now that the apes are established, they're living. Now they can actually become man in a way.
They're all speaking English.
Yep.
Looks like all the humans are now down to native.
Yeah.
So it's now the full reversal.
And it is neat.
I'm assuming that our lead is Caesar's kid.
If it's not his kid, it's going to be his like grandson or great grandson.
Well, that orangutan is still the one that was with Caesar. Is it not?
No. It is not.
Wow. Wasn't Zaius in the last one?
Well, that was Maurice.
His name was Maurice. But I thought there was one that was named,
No.
or the name Zaius got said somewhere.
That's the doctor from the original ones. And
I know.
That might be who we saw in the trailer.
Okay.
Because he always wore like kind of like a shawl dress kind of look.
Gotcha. I know. I mean, overall, like the trailer itself is good. Like I'm excited for this movie. Just some of the look of it was like I don't know if I wouldn't have put this shot in there. Or like, and I also do feel like you showed me a lot, and I'm glad you didn't tell me the story. But then it makes me wonder, is like, how much story do you have to tell? Because I almost felt like the trailer was like, okay, cool. So,
well, it was a teaser.
Everything's reversed.
I don't think it was a trailer. I think it was just a teaser.
It was a pretty long teaser. I mean,
yeah. So what you're telling me
to the point where it's like, then don't show me like. I would say like I don't want to see another or a full trailer because I want to see this and like I feel like anything else you show is just gonna
ruin it.
Either ruin it or skew what it is. Where like I liked War for the Planet of the Apes, but the trailer makes it look like this is gonna be a big war movie. It's like, but it's not.
It's like a sneaking movie.
It's a prison movie.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you hate every chimp you see from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
I feel like you had these written down and ready to go.
It's just one of my favorite Simpsons bits. Fall Guy.
I liked it.
I mean, I think I did a really good job in this one.
Ryan Gosling.
People are really going to like seeing me on this one, I'd say.
Emily Blunt, romantic comedy.
Driving again.
Doing a lot of stuff. And this is from David Leitch. If you don't know, he's co-director of the very first John Wick.
Okay.
And then directed Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde, Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, Bullet Train. That's what they're leaning off of. This one's like, from the director of Bullet Train.
You know, yeah, and this one really did feel like Bullet Train style. It looked like that movie.
I feel like the movie bits of this movie where like we're seeing the movie does.
That's kind of, yeah.
But the stuff with Ryan Gosling like out looking for the actor, I mean, it doesn't look like Atomic Blonde, but it looks a little bit more grounded. But I like, this is a really fun premise and setup, and I think perfect for David Leitch. Yeah. The John Wick movies are also really like a stunt showcase for stunt people. Like, look at the stuff we can do.
And that was the strongest part of Bullet Train as well.
And this does look like, even more so than Bullet Train, which I felt like leaned into a lot of not so much practical stunts, but CG type stuff. But this is like, what an excuse of like, I've built in an excuse to do crazy action set pieces. And also then within this other story,
it's not like a foreign concept for a story either. There's been other stuff like that, like, oh, it's the movie about the director making the movies, but something else is happening behind the scenes. I think there was a train wreck of a Netflix movie that came out a few years ago that had the same concept, where they were all like movie stars, but the whole show was about them, or movie was about them behind the scenes.
Probably. There's a lot of shit on Netflix.
It was like, I think the main thing, there's weird like dragon velociraptors in it.
I mean, it sounds like you're describing Sucker Punch, but...
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a good example, too.
Oh, yeah. Which was also like, this is an excuse for me to just do
music videos.
These three things that I want to do. But also with Ryan Gosling, like, look, dude's fucking charming.
Yeah.
And we know he can act, but like, look, there's nothing in the trailer that made me laugh out loud, but the trailer itself was like, looks fun. Like, I already like this guy. I'm like, yeah, I like this character.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt's fine too, even though I feel like from the trailers, like, is your whole bit in this movie just going to be like looking at him doing stunts in awe?
Yeah, it really did feel like that, didn't it?
But
that's fine. I am too.
Overall, this, for a movie that I actually did not know about until I was like, let me look at what new trailers have come out. And I was like, Fall Guy. And I was like, oh, well, this. Also,
pretty good name for.
Yeah,
that's a nice double meaning name for a movie.
I'm on board. Nice I'm on board for Fall Guy.
So
we'll stick with movies and we'll go into TV shows. So
yeah.
Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Okay.
Did you watch Afterlife?
I did.
Okay. I watched parts of it on YouTube.
Nice.
I watched the Harold Ramis bits and was like, all right, so that's what you did.
That's the reason why I didn't like the movie.
I think it's the reason why a lot of people.
Well, I'm going to say this just right off the bat. I do not care for Ghostbusters.
Like, you don't like it or you dislike Ghostbusters?
I don't dislike it. It's not my thing. I was not around in that time period. Maybe it's missing out on just if I watched it as a kid at the time, but it had no meaning for me. I barely watched the show as a kid.
This does
really. I grew up hearing people bitching about where's our third one.
This trailer in this movie does feel a little bit more like the cartoon to me, like a little bit. I've got some other things I'll say about it, but I'm not a big fanboy of the Ghostbusters. Like I didn't give a shit when they made Girl Busters.
The reboot.
It's a bad movie. Has nothing to do with it being girls.
I had to say that is a very entertaining bad movie. It's fun to watch with people.
It can be.
If I watch it alone, I don't. Yeah.
I didn't see Afterlife, but I had some respect for it. Of like, okay, I mean, you're paying, I guess, respect to what's come before. Harold Ramis is dead, and you figured out a way to like work it in the story. I wouldn't have shown him as a ghost.
Yeah, that's my big thing. Is even watching the movie, I would have rather it been like all you see is some hands.
Right.
You don't see his face. Just don't show the man's face.
But also, what I know is like a lot of people are like, it's not funny. Whether I mean maybe it's a good movie, bad movie to you, but like regardless, like it's not a comedy. And the first two,
which
in
I
2016, they're comedies.
To be fair to the movies, like the first one, it literally is just like it's a stupid comedy that they can't even believe it actually was a success.
Well, that was the other thing I was gonna say is this is an example too of I understand why it's a franchise, but it kind of was never meant to be. It was lightning in a bottle that made that first one. The second one isn't held in high regard. I liked it a lot growing up because it was just, we had it on VHS. So it was the one I watched the most.
That's also one I watched the most. And I can really compare it to Secret of the Ooze. They have kind of the same feel and tone to it.
Except different than Secret of the Ooze, they made that in like a year.
Yeah.
There was a gap between 1 and 2. But it also stemmed from the studio wanting to like make it more like the cartoon.
The soundtrack, and it's really good. Like the big thing for 2 for me a lot is the soundtrack alone is awesome, but
doesn't hold a candle to the first one. But obviously, I do have nostalgia for it too because it's the one that I technically really grew up with. And this one, and even Afterlife was like, okay, you're taking a more heartfelt approach, and like, okay,
I'll give it this. This new one looks like it's an original idea for once.
That's what I was going to say is. Thank God that you're not doing Gozer or any, like you're not doing that again. It's just like literally even the title of it's like, this just seems like a Ghostbusters adventure.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll point out this trailer is also like holding Ghostbusters in such high regard.
No, was it a teaser?
No, it's the official trailer.
Because I forgot about that one.
In such reverence.
Oh, Frozen Empire. That's the name of the tagline. Oh no, apparently it's a teaser.
They can call it whatever they want. It's 2.5 minutes long.
That is a trailer. Yeah, that's a trailer.
But it is something different. It's a different ghost. It's impacting the city. Even like it's the death freeze. I'm like, you know what? Kind of corny, but like cool.
You see people literally dying in this trailer. Which is also like, oh, okay, that's kind of hardcore for the comedy thing.
The first 2 before I was getting into it was like, who are the Ghostbusters? I mean, I knew it was going to be returning cast, but was like, yeah, but in Afterlife, like the girl and the boy kind of just like find it and like they're kids. But I guess fuck it, they're Ghostbusters now. And Mom and Teach, which I guess is her boyfriend now.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
You're doing, and with the moms, like that makes sense. Like you are Egon's daughter, so like fine, you're taking it up.
So the granddaughter is still. Which you know what? When I watched the movie, I liked her because she was just as fucking weird as he was.
Again, I did see again a lot of people praising her. I think the actress name is McKenna something.
Yeah, and Finn Wolfhard, which he's a good actor.
He is, but I also feel like they was just like, we're making an '80s thing. Gotta put Finn Wolfhard
Get
in
the
there.
'80s kid.
Well, I don't have anything for him to do. It doesn't matter. Just put him in there. Hopefully he'll have stuff to do in this one.
Yeah.
What I did not expect, I knew that Ernie Hudson would be there because I knew about the stinger scene where like Ernie reopens the firehouse.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd being there, not a surprise. I was like, well, I mean, of course you would be. Like,
he's got
but
bills to pay.
But Bill Murray, which I mean, he's in one shot of this trailer, and I almost wonders like, is that like a cut scene from Afterlife that you had him? But even in the 28 frames that he's in here, is like, man, it doesn't look like you want to be here.
The dude's like Harrison Ford. He doesn't not care.
There's some weird contract with Ghostbusters where Ramis, Aykroyd, and Murray and Reitman had to sign any sequel. They all had to sign off that it could be done, I guess.
That's really weird.
And of course, if you don't know, like it's very easy to find. Like Murray was the reason there wasn't a third Ghostbusters was because he didn't want to fucking do it.
Yeah.
So I maybe lost out of this trailer because I was just like, holy shit, Bill Murray's in this one. Like I don't know how you got him in the last one, but like you did.
I mean, they fucking got him in the 2016 one too.
That was literally that one he was forced, and you can tell in the scene was like, yep, you barely want to fucking be in this. And I think there's some, like, they threaten with legal action because I guess the contract works some other way too. Is like, if we do it,
that's wild,
are obligated to be in this. I don't know. It's weird.
Crystal Head vodka.
That's Aykroyd.
Yeah, I know.
I bet it's in this fucking movie. But so I was just like, holy shit, they got him. Like, because the only real reason I even looked up the scenes from Afterlife was like, oh, I want to watch Bill Murray be Peter Venkman again.
Yeah.
And like, he kind of is, I guess, for like the 5 minutes he's there. I wonder how much they're in this one, the originals again, because honestly, other than this being an original, quote unquote, adventure,
yeah.
my biggest draw to this is, are the original Ghostbusters going to be like a big part of this?
Like, yeah, main characters.
Because if so, then like, I guess I'm on board. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, but I'm like, I'd be on board.
I've seen like,
but I feel like it's gonna be like Jeff Goldblum from Fallen Kingdom. Just like, no, we showed you all that he was in the movie,
and then the studio cut all of his scenes.
Also, I'm positive Bill Murray gets killed in this movie.
I would not doubt that
he was
one
like,
bit.
This is the only way. He's like, I'll do this fucking movie.
Maybe his son will come up to him and stab him in the chest on a bridge.
Kill me, and you definitively kill me. Like, no fucking ghost dimension bullshit. Like, oh, Venkman's dead. But look at, it was a good trailer. It looked fine. It's not funny looking. Patton Oswalt gave me a little bit of a giggle.
I don't like Patton Oswalt.
Then you probably won't giggle at him then.
No, I'm so tired of him.
But I hope that there is more humor in this. If you're gonna have comedic actors who can do the work, like, give them something funny. That's the issue with 2016 Ghostbusters is you have funny actresses.
Literally, every single one of those women are very funny.
My least favorite is Leslie Jones, but I can admit, like, she can be funny. And honestly, in that movie, like, her and Kate McKinnon are probably the two that are trying the hardest to, like, I'll find humor in
this. It's
this.
insane.
But it just seems like you just let them improv, and that's all you gave them. And I don't care how good of an actor is. Like, you can't just improv this whole thing.
It's actually crazy. Everyone complains about them, but like, it's not a bad cast. It was the writing, honestly, the directing was terrible.
The cast is pretty perfect for, like, if this is what the direction you wanted to take. That was like perfect. I wouldn't have changed anything. I wouldn't have made them straight up goddamn copies of the other one. Was like, well, clearly Kate McKinnon's Egon.
Yeah.
And Melissa McCarthy is Stance. It's weird that I do remember all their names. And Leslie Jones is the black one.
Oh no! And she's from New York.
And I mean, I guess it is kind of racist. Both
that was the whole
both
thing.
Her and Ernie Hudson's characters are ones who are not involved in forming the Ghostbusters. Who are just like, I just want a job.
It's kind of ridiculous.
But also like, and they had to be black.
But listen, she didn't get enough wontons in her soup.
That was Melissa McCarthy's character.
I don't care. There was not enough.
Also,
wontons.
stop ordering soup from that place. Clearly, that's as many wontons as they're going to put.
I hope Fall Out Boy comes back in this one. Who are we gonna call?
Did they do that with Missy Elliott?
Yeah, she said, "Woo!" Got me scared.
I think I have actually heard their entire take on the theme, but it's
like, I'm calling.
The teaser for Ghostbusters 2016 has this almost dubstep version of the theme that actually was like pretty cool, and I thought, it's like, oh, I guess it must be this Fall Out Boy.
Nope.
And I listened to it, was like, that's not. Clearly, it's a piece of music that was made only for that trailer and like doesn't exist anywhere else. But it's a bummer to me because it's like, I would like to have this version of the Ghostbusters theme, please. I would give you $1.99 on iTunes for it.
I guess final thought of that one too. Was the Ecto 1? Is that the name of the car?
Yes.
Yeah, we see it driving around like crazy.
And it's part of the reverence that they're paying in this trailer. Is like, look, there's the
car.
There's the proton pack. There's the Ecto 1. It's like, yeah, dude, I know what it is. Like, I get it, but like, you don't. The point of the Ghostbusters, also the humor of it was they're just exterminators. They're just grubby, dirty exterminators.
Where's the Slimer?
Don't worry, he's gonna wait. He wasn't in Afterlife, was he? They made something new for Afterlife.
Yeah, I don't know, the sloppers. I don't know.
I bet you Slimer is in this one.
The sucker,
because I'm sure. I feel like when Ernie opened, because you saw it. I didn't, but when Ernie reopened the firehouse, I feel like doesn't the camera like push in on the containment center?
Oh yeah,
and like lights change. I assume probably the ice is going to get to that, and it's going to bust it open and let all the ghosts come out.
Yep.
And then now Slimer can be back because he should be in there, if I remember correctly.
I hope Dan Aykroyd gets sucked off by the Slimer.
Also, Slimer's not even supposed to be a fucking character. The only reason he shows back up in the second one is because the cartoon made it a character.
Yeah, and the juice.
And then they were forced to, like, kids like Slimer, put him in there.
Put them in your juice box.
So I remember,
kids.
I think I probably saw the cartoon a bit before I saw the movies. So watching the first movie, I'm like, why isn't Slimer helping them? Why is he mean?
That's really funny. I actually, that's hilarious.
So our last movie,
Shogun?
that's a show.
Oh, I thought it was a movie.
It looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Would be Godzilla -1, official trailer 2, technically I guess final trailer.
Yeah.
We never talked about the other one.
The movie's already released in Japan. It releases for us December 1st.
Okay, so this trailer's date is for us.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you too. Is like this trailer was unclear of December's, and I thought that I'd seen that it started to come out in Japan.
Right off the bat, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but like really, really like Godzilla, like the movies.
More than Jurassic Park?
No, but I have watched.
What are you gonna? How much would you nut if they're like, we're gonna do Godzilla versus Jurassic Park?
I hate that argument. I wouldn't care.
You know that some executive has definitely been like,
yeah,
can we do that?
They have. I don't want to watch it. You know what? That would be cool in Ready Player One.
That would have been a cool thing to have done. Maybe Ready Player 2 will get that.
If that happens. But anyway, I have watched every single Godzilla movie that there is. I watched the shows, like even the Hanna-Barbera one with Godzuki and
the Matthew Broderick one.
Of course, that's
Godzilla, the animated series.
that animated
Did you
series.
wonder what happened after Roland Emmerich's Godzilla? Well, we made some episodes about it.
It's unironically really entertaining, and it kind of feels like what Monarch will be. I'm not even kidding.
We'll talk about it with this.
But this one kind of annoys me.
Really?
I haven't watched the movie yet, so I'm not going to judge it, but I don't like the concept right off the bat because it's always been a staple.
Like Godzilla attacking Japan?
Well, not that. It's supposed to be that every Godzilla movie there is kind of a pseudo sequel to the original Gojira. Like every Godzilla we know, there was a Gojira first. Like the original movie.
I got that feeling from this.
This one is called a -1 because it's before the first movie. So it's supposed to be Godzilla attacking before the original Gojira. So I kind of feel like they're almost remaking his origin, which is just annoying to me.
I mean, I have been curious what it was called -1. I just figured it was like a weird Japanese thing because like their titles, a lot of anime and video games, like I don't understand what this fucking title means.
And the main plot is a soldier at World War II witnessed Godzilla wake up. He was the only survivor, and he has like survivor's guilt because he knows this thing was out there, but no one believed him or some shit.
Kind of like Godzilla's the fisherman attacking. Roland Emmerich's.
Yes,
John Renault talks to him.
Literally, that man is talking about Gojira, the movie. That's what he's talking about.
To be Americans, we can't say Gojira, we say Godzilla.
And I think that's too why they started calling him Godzilla, even in Japan, is because Gojira is the original. It's like two different entities. And there was the 80s remake of Godzilla when he came back, and it turned into the one that ends with Desidroya. It had a storyline of where he was the only survivor and he knew Godzilla like after World War II. And it's a whole funny bit because he's like, Godzilla, it's me. He's like in this tower. He's like, my friend. And Godzilla's just like blast him. It's really
maybe this isn't a prequel to Gojira. Maybe this is a remake retelling of that.
I think that's what they're going to do with it.
Just like, you know what? If they had the technology we have now, this is what they would have done with it. And so that's what we're going to do.
Which is, it just feels cheap because we've gotten like, references to it, like the oxygen bomb in King of the Monsters. That was the plot of the first Gojira.
Well, right now we only have one running Godzilla storyline, which is the Legendary universe.
So this is another.
So this is Toho's. Toho now literally, look, we're going to reboot Godzilla. And
well, they do it all the time.
I mean, technically, I guess Shin Godzilla was also that.
They nenever really do like.
And I would like to see a follow-up to Shin Godzilla. And like, will you please explain why there are like little people coming out of them?
It's that's also a thing with them.
Maybe we're going to be surprised. Maybe this fucking Godzilla is going to fight Shin Godzilla. That would blow my mind.
That would be cool. But there was one more. I forget which of the Godzilla movies, but there was another plot line where the shipwrecked World War II fighters are on an island and they meet Godzillasaurus. They just made up a dinosaur. It was like a lost island, and the bomb going off turned it into Godzilla.
Like the plot of what Skull Island should have been.
Yeah, it's really weird with that one.
Maybe it's just like, you know what? The easiest way to tell one of these stories, fucking take a soldier and give him survivor's guilt, and he saw him, or he's on an island with him, and we'll go from there.
So that's kind of the main plot, but the actual look of this movie, the stuff that you can tell is a suit, looks really good.
I think all of this looks really good. And it's a trailer and it's quick cuts, but from suit to CGI, I assume, I mean, the whole purpose is probably like, we don't want you to be able to tell the difference between the two of these.
The roar was a bit much for me. It just kind of feels like they wanted to be louder than the American one.
And also, is this one bigger? Is this the biggest one? The Legendary is the biggest Godzilla to date, yes.
The anime one is.
With Godzilla Earth?
Yeah, because
I'm not going to count those.
But I think a Legendary
The beginning
Godzilla,
of Netflix getting into anime.
Yeah. I think Legendary Godzilla was the biggest at the time.
Oh, live action, biggest live there. I'll qualify it, biggest live action Godzilla.
I think so. But it's also hard. It's hard to tell because sometimes they change things around because they're like, people are like, oh no, Shin Godzilla's bigger. But it's like, is he?
It's also like a fucking body horror monster.
Yeah. So this one, who knows? But he looks pretty sick.
He does. He doesn't. He's got all the things that I like of Godzilla. He doesn't. Which the Legendary one also is good looking, but he's a little bit with the head and the jaw reminds me too much of the Emmerich Godzilla. It's got a little bit of the square.
He's very lizardy, where the Japanese version's always been very dog-like in its face.
But overall, just like the action and the literal look of this was like, holy. Not that Toho makes bad stuff. It was like, oh, this looks legit.
There's only one thing in the entire thing that I did not like, and it was the last 2 seconds of the trailer.
I think we're gonna we might disagree here because I was about to say I really liked in this trailer of instead of his for his atomic breath, instead of just the spikes glowing, like they jet out further from his back, and I was like, that's cool. And then I don't know, like it made me laugh in a good laugh. So I don't know. And maybe this is what you have the issue with, like then them seemingly jetting back into him, locking into place for I assume the shot to happen.
Like a trigger.
Was kind of like, I don't know. I liked it in the moment of the trailer. I was like, huh. At the very least, one like that's different.
I liked that.
It's like you're making Godzilla like a rail cannon.
Yeah. I really like that. I didn't like the follow-up animation, which we only see it for like a half a second, where it's like he like throws his head forward. The way the animation looks like the Gamera movie, and I hate the way the animation looks.
I guess I didn't notice that. Maybe I was just still hooked on the like, oh, they're making the spikes move. That's cool.
I love that. That's fine.
I do
That's
like
great.
I do like these spikes. There's sometimes his back plates, I'm like, that's too big. It looks ridiculous.
See, and Godzilla 2000, which is my favorite, I think he has the biggest spines.
That's the one where he fights Zilla, right?
No.
That's the one where he kills Zilla?
No, not that one.
Oh, is that's Millennium?
No, that's you're on the right name, but the wrong movie.
Oh.
That's
he throws him into the Sydney Opera House, doesn't he?
Yeah. Or yes, he does. And it plays "We're All to Blame" by Sum 41.
But yeah, I'm pumped for this. I'm pumped for Toho making a genuine big budget movie. I'm pumped for Toho making what legit looks like a big budget movie.
Yeah, it really does look good.
And
Shin Godzilla looked amazing.
And taking Godzilla seriously, which for the most part modern Toho has taken him seriously. We haven't gotten anything overly goofy from him.
They got a little silly after they were like, American Godzilla sucked. Let's do this stuff. Some of their movies that came out afterwards was like,
I get it. It's part of there's a camp appeal to Godzilla as well.
Always. There's always a camp.
But I feel like the Legendary movies they've got the camp part covered. Especially where they've gone to now. I think the first one is serious.
It's serious, yeah.
But now they're camp.
It's all camp.
So they were going to get to have 2 Godzilla timelines, and that this IP in this franchise, not just that it's still around, but like that can still be relevant.
Mm-hmm. And the same story, literally all of them, same story. Godzilla will destroy a city.
And I don't know. I also feel like this movie is going to give me a lot of Godzilla, which is what I want, which is what the Legendary movies don't really give me enough of. And even Godzilla versus Kong, even that where you do get a lot of monsters, but like Godzilla's not in that movie very much. Like he's in the beginning, then you get the ocean fight. And if I'm remembering correctly, he's pretty much gone until the ending fight. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much a King Kong movie.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is fine, giant ape too, but like I want monster fights, or I want monster destroying city at very least. And
which
like,
this is what this one feels like.
This looks like
I feel like we will see another monster in this one. I don't think it will be Ghidorah or Mothra.
I feel like I've heard someone say that Jet Jaguar is in this.
If that is true, I will love this movie.
Who is an inherently silly character to me.
It was made by a kid.
So I'm hoping he is in this in regards of like, I wonder how you make this.
He was literally an Ultraman, and
I love that.
Like
there's like two types of like mech type things from Japan, and like anything. There's your combining mechs and like boxy stuff, and then it's just we took Ultraman and we did this.
Yeah, it was a whole contest. A kid got to design a good guy.
I grew up watching Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Oh yeah.
and loved it. And then came to find out, I was like, is he a variation on Ultraman?
Of course.
And then recently, Studio Trigger did SSS Gridman.
Yep.
Twitch was like, well, I'm going to watch this because like clear. And then I was like, oh, SSS. That's Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. That's why you did. Okay.
Which, I mean, the crossover between Ultraman stuff has happened with Godzilla. Baragon appears in one of the movies, which was an Ultraman villain.
Arguably, Jet Jaguar is just like your Ultraman.
Really, it's the only thing is it's incredible that Godzilla hasn't fought Gamera, considering that they're kind of the only two Japanese leg titans when it comes to that stuff. And I think they made a comic about it recently.
Will Mothra be in this movie?
I really don't think so. And yeah, I'm honestly kind of feeling we might have like an original
Muto
monster. Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't even mind if you just fucking take the Muto out of Godzilla again. Like that was a cool design.
I like them. And I mean, speaking of them, it was a massive unidentified terrestrial organism was what it stood for.
And on that note,
we're gonna have a ton of them in this new series.
You didn't see this, but there was a new trailer for Monarch, but it's not a trailer. It's a press kit behind the scenes thing. But overall, we're getting a bunch. There's going to be a bunch of monsters in this.
And one of them is absolutely the one of the comic that I told you about before in a previous episode.
And we're going to get a time hopping story
through multiple years. Like, it's
and I guess John Goodman is in this.
Yeah.
And Anders Holm from Workaholics and Indie Project is the young version of him. It's the only reason I know, because I saw when they put his name, I was like,
yeah. So,
well, you're going to get fat when you get old.
Yeah. We had also, we already knew that Kurt Russell and his son played the same character. So it's kind of cool. We're going to get multiple versions of that. I don't remember the character's name, but there's a black man with glasses that is in Skull Island. And he was also in King of the Monsters. He was kind of like a monarch guy. And I think he might be a character that could show up in this.
It seems like I think all the younger people that are in the present timeline with Kurt Russell are all connected to like their parents, the legacy.
Yes.
And Godzilla's in the fucking trailer too. Like,
yeah.
He's in here.
Which, he was in the first one as well.
And look, this is made by Apple, so like the budget on it's probably whatever they fucking wanted.
I did watch the opening scene, and there's a very big tone of green screen, which also makes me feel like John Goodman will not be in this much. That might have been his only scene.
You think they shot him in his living room?
It really kind of feels like that at some point. But the action scenes were pretty cool in what we saw. And one of the creatures that we saw is one that comes from the Netflix anime, which is like, fuck.
I know this is probably not what the show's going to be, but what I really want, obviously, as I said, I want monster fights.
I mean, you get that right off the bat.
The opening of Godzilla vs. Kong, the credit sequence literally plays as kind of like, look, we didn't film all this stuff, so we're just going to tell you, like, they beat him. These two are pretty much, I guess, Godzilla.
Yeah, really. He defeated
King Kong didn't do anything.
He defeated all the Titans.
Like, it was like basically like Mortal Kombat. I was like, I want to see that. That's what I want to see.
Like, literally, everyone wanted to see that Titan with the giant tusks. That was a fan favorite.
I mean, after King of the Monsters, and they kind of set up like the other ones are awake. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see him fight all of them, right?
Wish for my wish list, I would like to see Anguirus in this. That's one of my favorite of the Toho monsters. He's also the second monster to ever exist alongside Godzilla.
I'm going to wish list. I want Mechagodzilla back again.
I want Mechagodora.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take Mechagodora. I want a mecha.
Yeah.
And
Kiru would also be a good mecha. There's a couple.
Isn't there like a giant beetle one?
Mogura. I think that's the one you're thinking of.
Do you think they're going to make any new ones for the show, or are they going to?
Oh, I mean, from just the thing I saw, they already had a new creature.
Okay.
And I mean, we know there's the Muto hybrid creature.
Hybrid with what?
It's a bunch of tiny creatures making one giant creature.
Oh, okay. I'm into that.
Yeah, and they like feed on radiation.
That can be creepy.
Yeah. So they swarm like a cloud, and then they turn into a monster.
And that premieres November.
This Friday,
depending on when you're listening.
The day that this podcast come out, it will be out.
So go get Apple TV. They did it. They've made enough stuff.
Now I don't know if they're doing a weekly release or an all at once release.
I would guess weekly,
because a lot of the other stuff they've done has been all at once.
You want to stretch not everything they do. So, like I think Silo, which is a sci-fi show that did that.
Oh, okay.
Week to week. I think with the budget and with this IP, you want to stretch people talking about this.
Yep.
And also Godzilla -1 coming out in December. Like you want people like, I want more Godzilla. It's like, you want more Godzilla? He's here. Come over here.
That's actually really interesting because it releases on a Friday, which will be when these, if they're episodic, it will air on Friday. So I can imagine maybe the Monarch show will have a very heavy Godzilla episode on that Friday.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't plan like for that.
Because it's kind of perfect, really, because it gets all of it trending all at once. Perfect marketing.
So, yay Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is what I want from a show.
All right, and that'll take us to Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Now, you probably do not feel strongly about Avatar. I can imagine.
Nope. I've seen 1/4 of Legend of Korra.
Really? Not even the original series, Korra?
No, The Legend of Korra, there is a Blu-ray of it, and it was like on sale for $12 for the whole series. It's like, and I really liked the Voltron show on Netflix, which is the same studio. And I felt like, okay, well, these people...
No, it's not.
It's the same writing team.
Okay, I was going to say DreamWorks did Voltron.
The writing team behind it, not the animation.
Sorry, I was like, what?
So I was like, okay, they do write, like, yes, it's a kid's show, but they write it in a very mature way, and there's a story, there's a good story here. And I know that The Last Airbender, like, I know people love this story. I was like, I know this is probably I know it's secondary, and I know it's probably subpar to the original. It was like $12, like, fuck it, like, I'll own this whole thing. And what I watched of it was good. I just haven't finished it. I own it, so it's not going anywhere.
The studio themselves didn't finish it.
And I've seen bits and pieces of M. Night Shyamalan's movie, and I know, like, oh, this isn't anything.
I can tell you right now that Korra has no bearing on the original. It also really doesn't have an ending. The last 3 episodes when that show was coming out, the studio said, fuck it, fuck this show. We're releasing it online, and we're canceling the show, and we're bankrupting it.
Because they both ran on Nickelodeon, right?
Yeah. And it was like a really weird tax write-off for no reason. And they wrapped up the storyline and was just like, and Korra...
And she became the princess or whatever.
No, the ending is she kills the Avatar bloodline. Like, there will be no more Avatars. We're done. And also, the character she was set up to be in love with, psych, she's in love with this character.
She doesn't kill the Avatar bloodline, Nemo. She takes a tax write-off on that bloodline.
It's such a weird, like, what they did with it sucked so bad that really hurts the show overall. But now they're kind of like redoing it and rewriting some stuff with like their extended media because they were able to get it back. But the first series is so strong. Like, I would highly recommend watching it. Watching this show gave me the same feeling.
So I've
used the music from the show.
Seen the sentiment that there are a lot of people going like, this looks just like the anime.
It really does.
I guess
it's American. It's American made. I think the term they gave it was like anime inspired, like the Boondocks.
I think we can just call it anime, y'all. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. Anime has become a style.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be drawn by Japanese people. Like, Americans take everything. So
it was 3 seasons, the original show, and every like character that's in this looks true to their character, which is rare to do, really.
You mean they look Asian? Sorry, just pointing out the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh yeah, because he really did a whole crazy race mix thing.
Race bending, I think that's what they called it.
Because he made all the bad guys Indian for some reason, which is like
they're the Fire Nation, right?
It's like, is that your favorite? M. Night? Is that your favorite?
And then he also, even though his plan was clearly to do a series of movies, he shoved 2 seasons into the first movie.
He didn't even finish the first season.
Oh,
it wasn't even all of it.
All right.
He cut out some characters. We'll see one in the trailer. I think they did it on purpose, but Momo the monkey, he's like a flying like lemur, and Shyamalan cut that one out completely. And
the thing that they sit on and fly?
No, that's a air bison, and his name is Appa.
Oh, of course, dumb me. I mean, of course, it's an air bison.
Come on.
No, I don't.
He's a little flying monkey.
I don't have any affinity or anything for this, but
they also mispronounced his name in the Shyamalan movie, which is a big one. They called the main character Ong instead of Aang. No one knows why they did that.
Which is weird because like we know that he watched the show.
Yeah,
like the reason he made the movie is because his kids were into it.
And they called it Ahsoka Soka.
Well, I can't do that now because there's an Ahsoka out there.
Oh yeah, I'll say the Shyamalan teaser trailer.
No,
everyone loved it.
I thought it was a cool teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't have any. I wasn't in the show then either, but I was like, "This looks." I mean, I knew this wasn't from the movie, but I was like, "This is probably going to be cool." And I saw the real trailer and was like, "Oh, this doesn't look very good."
So right off the bat with this one, the colors, the bending looks great. Just showing scenery, going to these places, feeling like a journey, which is really what the first season all is.
And I would say, much like the next show we're going to talk about, as I watched this trailer, I was like, "This looks like a fucking movie."
Yeah, it really does look good. I'm excited for that.
I'll be curious, not that it matters, but I'll be curious to find out like how much should each episode cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
I forget the number now, but I know One Piece. It's insane, like what each episode cost. I don't think it breached the Lord of the Rings, the Power of the Rings, the Rings of Time. We are now here with our rings at $100 million per episode. or whatever the fuck they were. As a trailer, it's a very good trailer. But nowadays,
I would say this one definitively is a teaser.
This doesn't mean much because a lot of the Marvel trailers have also been good, and then it's like, oh, it's not very good. But I don't think this is the case with this. Clearly, right now, Netflix. I mean, this was done before it premiered, but One Piece, and I haven't seen it, but from everything I'm hearing, not only is it good, but for fans of the actual stories, like, yep, they did it.
I'd say this will cause a lot of people to go and watch the anime again.
And so I almost wish that, like, and I haven't watched this either, but Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, like, maybe go back and either re-edit, because they've done that in the past.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Arrested Development, when Netflix got it, had a real weird, because it couldn't get all the cast at the same time, so every episode focused on one cast member, and it was kind of a weird thing. But before the 5th season came back on Netflix, they did a remix of season 4 where they re-edited it.
I forgot about
that. To be more normal, and it is better. Like, it is funnier, and I wish they would release that like on DVD. But so maybe go. I don't know if it would even help or fix whatever happened with Cowboy Bebop or what the issue with that was.
It's the storyline wasn't.
But maybe there is can you go back and like fix that?
Yeah.
Because clearly you've hired some people who have cracked the code of like, I can make live action anime.
And it's what sucks about the people that worked on Cowboy Bebop. All the actors were massive fans of it. I think.
And I think generally looked their part.
I know Daniela Pineda, I think that's her name.
Yes.
She was like, she's still actively pissed of what they did to what she acted in. She's like, that wasn't.
And that's the thing that
what it was.
I think a lot of general audiences don't know sometimes too, is like the performance you see on the screen isn't always the performance that actor gave. It's, there's clever, I don't want to say clever, but editing and all these other things it changes it.
Yep.
And so I know she got hate tweets and shit like that too.
It sucks too.
Which is why I like
her.
Maybe you shouldn't do that, because like, maybe she's also pissed, but also this is her job, so she can't totally shoot her mouth off about stuff, because she would like to get work later too.
Yeah.
Just like you were saying too, is like, don't piss. The writers aren't always the ones who are making this shit terrible. They're also just doing their fucking job. And like, you want me to write garbage? Okay. I mean, I do need to eat, so
yeah,
I guess I'll write it.
Like every time that you're at work and your manager makes you do a stupid decision, same shit all the time.
Right. Or at the very least, like, bring the cast back and just fucking do it again.
But then there's other situations like with Shyamalan's Avatar. He did that.
But
that was his decision.
And again, since I haven't seen the show or whatever, but like looking at this trailer or teaser or whatever they want to call it, I think this is clearly for the fans. Like, I don't think this is like, if you don't know what this is, it's going to pull you in. I am more interested now. It's like, this, looks good, but I don't think this was made for me.
Which is really good point.
And it's a conversation I had recently of maybe there are some things that, and I never really believed this before, but maybe there are some things that cannot adapt or change their medium from one to another.
Yeah.
Look, when you adapt a book, things are going to change. You have to compress and change things and how the story gets told, because a book can actually have a narrator. If you do that in a movie, one, it's lazy.
Yeah, it can be very, very lazy.
And thinking, we were talking about anime and thinking about adapting anime, because I do believe, like, yes, and I think we've gotten close. I think visually, Ghost in the Shell live action, visually, good job.
Now everything else,
yeah, different. But like, yeah, you fucking, it looks like you brought the anime to life. Good job. Obviously, One Piece seems to be straight up like, we literally made live action anime. But there is something that you lose from animation.
One Piece is a great example because all the characters are so incredibly stylized. You're not going to get a woman with a 30-foot pencil neck in the Netflix show as a main character that's going to be on the screen.
It does look like they did some wild shit, but like even beyond things like that, there's simply maybe your mindset or your tone changes to accept certain things when it is animated, even if it's a serious animation or very grounded animation. There are some things that you can do narratively that your audience is like, I accept this because it's animated. That literally does not translate to being live action.
And it's a very strong point of why animation is so needed.
And there probably are some stories or pieces that are so inherently tied to, and honestly, even though this is something I'd like to see, I brought up in this conversation, Akira. Maybe Akira cannot be made.
It should just stay
live action, because either you're just going to do your best to literally copy what they did, to which is like, well, then why wouldn't I just and at this point, it's going to be AI algorithm bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't I just watch the anime? Or, I don't even know an or. Like, I do believe there are some directors out there who I would trust. Like, if Jordan Peele was going to do it, I'm like, okay.
Let's see it.
I trust you, and like, let's see what you do. And maybe even, I can't believe I'm going to defend Ghost in the Shell. Like, maybe that was his approach too, is like, look, I can't tell that same story.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work, so we're going to change it.
I think
maybe actually that movie's biggest problem was like he's probably told like you can keep this PG-13, and not saying it needed to be more violent or sexy, but just like it needed to have the freedom to be what it needs to be, which Ghost in the Shell is not, generally speaking.
That's
PG-13.
kind of like Cowboy Bebop has that. Like it kind of just like the stuff they do in it just works better as animation. You can get more out of it. You can do more with it. Whereas like a live action version, you're not going to get that.
I think essentially to really do it is you'd have to have someone who this is what they want to make and they're passionate about it and talented, and also literally a studio who's going to go like whatever you need to do it.
Yeah, take it.
And whatever how much time you need, go. And you're never going to get that because at the end of the day, it's a product. And that's what we got with video game movies for a long time, and we're still going to get it now.
The Ahsoka show is a really good example. I haven't watched it, but like the fight scenes, even in little clips I've seen.
I think that's how we started this conversation was because he had watched Ahsoka. And he's like, it's not.
She's an acrobatic character. That's all of her thing in the original animation is flipping around, doing all these crazy moves.
And a lot of it's like, this isn't, again, what I've heard from Ahsoka is like, this isn't bad. It's just meh. It's here.
It's slow.
It almost feels like it's here just because like it was supposed to be, or like, this is a thing, this is a character people know and they like, so do it.
It's a name.
And we're building a TV universe clearly in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the Throneverse. But it's like, she's never been like, because it wasn't just her. I know there's a lot of characters that are in the Ahsoka show that are from Rebels or the other one,
the other Disney shows.
It's like they're all from animation, and there is going to be a disconnect, and because this is following the canon of those shows, and now it's suddenly this. How do you? I mean, you can translate it, but it's like, should you?
It's hard.
And
to
like
do.
live action is not the end all be all of like now it's for real, now it's serious. Like no, animation is. I think American studios still have an issue of like animations for kids.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's still a big thing.
I mean, I'm not a huge anime fan. Like there's very specific things that I like, but telling someone I'm an anime fan, I know most people are like, oh, you like anime. Like they have an idea of what anime is, and like, oh, it's this. It's either for kids or like, oh, you like weird fan service shit.
Yeah, go take a shower, BJB.
I mean, I am getting pretty sweaty, but it's like, no, there is a seriousness to some anime.
Yeah.
And animation, it's been for adults for a very long time. I mean, Looney Tunes, its origin is not for kids.
Also, think about how many boomers still love Looney Tunes compared to children.
Right. I mean, that speaks to, their their timelessness and things like that, but they were not made for kids.
I mean,
The Simpsons also is like, that was an adult show.
It was considered risque at one point.
I got to see it growing up, and then eventually I was not allowed to watch it because my mom was like, there's things she's like, I don't like this. But I was allowed to watch it originally because like, well, it's a cartoon, so sure, fine.
One of the first curse words I ever said as a child came from The Simpsons, and I was banned from watching it for 2 weeks.
Hell damn.
I think I said, screw you.
But I do think as they're making product, which is all the studios are content, which I've now grown to hate the word content.
Yeah, me too.
Even down to like, I'm not hating on anyone who's got an OnlyFans or whatever, but it's like, I'm a content creator. It's like, you are making stuff.
That's what we're doing right now.
And I guess it is content, to be honest. But it's like, I think what you're making, honestly, is no different than Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. You are a content creator. Ahsoka should not be that. Ahsoka should be a television show. It should be a series. It should be a story.
Yeah.
That's being told to me.
Not just the flavor of the week.
Disney needed a box to be checked, and we got it, and now this is here, and there we go. And if it doesn't work, we'll fucking delete it. Like Willow.
Like, especially when you're talking about like adaptations of stuff like this, I feel like it's better to go from something that did not have an established thing to begin with. So like with Ahsoka, it's a cartoon to a 3D universe. There's always going to be a disconnect if they're considered the same character. With Avatar, at least it's like a separated thing. It's not just like, okay, here is the anime ended. The next season is all live action. So you get to have some freedom.
This is now a retelling. But and
going in between the two mediums is such a fine line to cross.
But it did hit me again in watching that Avatar trailer and knowing already before I watched it that there had been some people speaking like, oh, this looks like as far as like, oh, they're doing it justice and all that. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't a specific shot, but it was just like, should this have been done? Should there be a live action Avatar? Was it perfect how it was? And like, if you want to redo it, like redo it animated, because it came out.
The original show is 2005.
So, it's almost been 20 years. Like animation.
I mean, I remember watching the first episode.
Improved and changed. And also without knowing the budget of what that show was, like I'm sure now, like give these animators a bigger budget and more time. Who knows? Like again, I'm not saying that anything like this does look like a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think much like One Piece, it will probably be good. And I do think that stuff can be
and that's
transferred.
That's a big thing with the original series too. Though is there's a lot of episodes where it's like this is a filler episode, like this is nothing but like a side adventure. You can't put that into a live action one. If you were making it into a movie,
The Walking Dead would argue that.
Yeah, like if you're making it into a movie,
you want filler episodes, you say.
That's obviously what you cut if you're making a movie. Like, you're not going to put that in there. Maybe a reference to it if there's something important. But with this being a show, I don't want them to do everything because it's like, then, yeah, I'll just go watch the original animation.
Do you want them to take, since you did watch, clearly you watched it.
Multiple times.
And are a fan of it. Do you want them to take any risks with it and be like, we're gonna change this. This is going to be different now. Or this is going to happen at a different time.
The big thing with Avatar in its universe is there is a genocide that happens. The main character, Aang, is literally the last of his people. And it's all because he had a panic attack, basically, and froze himself into a ball and stayed in the bottom of the ocean for almost 100 years.
I remember that from the Shyamalan movie.
That happened. I would like...
he got that part right.
That's the bare minimum. So...
Wait. Are the penis hairdos from the anime? I don't know what people were... But there's some like
hair, dude.
There's some queen or king, I don't know. There's some royal person, and like the back shot of them is like, your hair's a dick.
Oh, that one, yeah, that is. But their design in the Shyamalan one was a little weird. But
he more pronounced the shaft.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think
that inspired Beau is Afraid.
There you go. I think leaning more into the tragedy of it all would be a good move because the show has a very somber tone to it, and there's very depressing scenes. But it's like it's balanced with like. Because Aang is still a kid. He is like 10 years old. So he still has a childlike wonder because he just was like really scared when he went to freeze himself. So he's been unconscious for that long.
I do think this is something with an adaptation of an anime to live action. That obviously, yeah, there is an audience who was never going to watch your animation because either one, they don't like animation, or two, they have it in their head of like, this is for kids.
It was a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Like, I'm not even talking about Avatar specifically, but
yeah, that's the feeling.
So okay, this is at its core like this is a good story, regardless. So now we're gonna tell it this way, so that those people also like will look at it. But also this could be a chance too, because I presume Nickelodeon's not involved in this at all.
No, they're not.
And I'm not saying like Zack Snyder gritty it up, but like we're gonna hit the tragedy a little bit harder and like some stuff, maybe not graphic, but like this is gonna be a more grown up.
Because, I mean...
telling of that same story.
I mean, the Fire Lords are really heavily like a Nazi kind of allegory to begin with.
Then do you think that, or do you, as a fan too, do you feel like maybe it'll lose something because some of that, I think part of what made Avatar special was that it was a kid show, but it was one that was like, we're going to treat you like adults. And we're gonna tell this story that technically is darker and heavier than what you would normally get.
Once again, a really good comparison is the Ninja Turtles of being able to have like mature storyline, like and have it mean something.
Because that was part of what hooked me on the Voltron show. One, I mean, I grew up with Voltron and I like the robot stuff. So even though honestly the original cartoon is very bad, but in watching the first 2 seasons on Netflix was like, I mean, obviously this is for kids or younger people, I'll say.
Yeah,
but it was like. This is real stuff that's happening. Like, this is a real story that's going on, and also like there are stakes and like there's pathos with these characters.
I think,
which is again, that's like what led me to like I'll buy this Legend of Korra thing because this is the same writing team, and so clearly this is what they're able to do this.
So I think a good move to make with this one is to follow the main beats of the storyline.
Is anyone from the original involved in this?
I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of the writing creative team were. And but a good move to make is maybe even a couple episodes. I don't even know if you need it like dedicated, but do like a Game of Thrones style where like you get a storyline of a character they might not see for like 5 episodes, and maybe go back and look at the past avatars. Like the one I mentioned earlier, Kyoshi is like she had a book written about her. Like you can go and buy it at like Barnes and Noble.
So there's some other stories that have probably come out since then too. You're like, you can integrate this into this now. Because
each one teaches him a lesson, because from the dawn of time, there is an avatar. And when they die, the next person becomes an avatar. So they go into the spirit realm.
And was Korra in the original show? Or
no, she's after Aang has died.
Okay. But they could, if they wanted to, and if this is huge, Netflix wants this, like we want this to go on for longer, they could hint at or start setting up Korra in this.
No, because
she wouldn't even be born yet.
Aang has to die. Like the moment Aang dies is when Korra is born.
So the end of
it's like a reincarnation.
They could do the ending of this could be a little baby and everyone know like that's Korra.
If they did a time jump, because he's like a 78-year-old man when he dies.
I mean, you do a little epilogue episode. But yeah, I thought it was a very good trailer, well made. And again, a lot of Netflix shows do look like they have a good budget. Especially this last season, Stranger Things. I was like, all right, yeah. I don't feel like they're at the level of what Apple is pulling off. No, because I don't think they have the money that Apple fucking had. But this did look like, I feel like you put a lot.
It looked better than the One Piece one.
And again, it's why I'm saying like between these two live action things of One Piece and Avatar, and then the anime they already have that's original to them or that they've now bought. Yeah. And the stuff they're doing even now to Terminator and Arcane. I think it would be dumb of Netflix not to start, I'm not saying become an anime streaming thing, but like this is clearly a thing. Like you have something like this is your hook, and that's what you need to have now is a hook, because before you were the only game in town, and now all that shit's been taken from you, although some of it's being given back to them now. Some Disney stuff is being put on back to Netflix. Apparently Zack Snyder shit is being put onto Netflix.
Weirdly right now you can watch all the MonsterVerse stuff on Netflix and HBO.
And that comes down to business of Zaslav wanting to make money. So it's like and that's part of the shit that he's taken off is to license it to other people. But again, as we've seen with streamers, like the thing now is like you need to you've got to have your own stuff. Like
what's going to draw people to you.
And I think that's a very strong thing. Yeah. And I think if they continue their track record, which it looks like they're going to do, I think you also did crack the code of making live action anime. And I would love to see you now try to take a stab at make a live action movie.
And do it justice.
They even say, fuck it, try Ghost in the Shell again. They have some of the license of Ghost in the Shell because they produce a terrible fucking CG animated.
Everyone hated that.
Standalone Complex 20. I can't remember what it's called, but it's so weird looking. Don't get me wrong, because there's bad anime on Netflix, and there's clearly issues where they're pushing some studios too hard to where like shit's barely animated. I think it's not Lords of Ragnarok, but it's something Record of Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
I saw clips of it, and it's like they're literally like still frames moving at some certain points, and it's like, what the fuck?
I'd like to see something like Berserk become a very mature live action thing.
That, you know what? It's a good call, whether movie or show. Yeah. I mean, if you do a movie, don't try to cram too much in there, but also don't stretch it out.
You would have to make it you'd have to make it 3.
But yeah, I mean, you would sit out going like, we're making a trilogy. Do what you're doing with Zack Snyder. I mean, clearly I don't know how many of those we're going to get, but yeah. And I guess we'll talk about that right now since I just said it. So we also got the trailer for
Rebel Moon
Part 1.
Yeah. What is it?
Child of Fire.
I was going to say, what is it? Revengeance of a Child of Nonsense Part 1.
What he's been working on for the last 3 years
outside of the zombie stuff, I guess.
He did Army of the Dead, and he didn't do that other movie, Army of Thieves or Thieves of the Dead. I think he produced it, but he didn't direct it.
There was also an anime supposed to come out for that too.
Yeah, because Netflix does want to make that a universe as well. Yeah. And I'm down. I didn't like Army of the Dead.
It was terrible.
I liked the first 10 minutes of it. I think I would like to see like the outbreak happen. Yeah. And then wall off Vegas. And I'm even kind of okay with like, okay, so the zombies can get pregnant.
And also they're aliens.
But also, that, and then there's clearly robot zombies here too.
That's what the anime was going to be.
Like, so I appreciated that Zach was setting stuff up, and it's like, dude, like, and I know like it's my least favorite of his work, so I'll say that. Yeah. And I do just kind of feel like he's like, I think he was just having fun. And Netflix was like, go do whatever you want to fucking do. This looks like prime Zack Snyder. And almost to the point of like, this is what you've always wanted to make. The only thing that I have against it, and I know this sounds stupid, at the very end, like you can see like it's rated PG-13. I was like, honestly, because during the trailer, I was like, this is clearly rated R. Some of the fights and stuff we see looked pretty brutal. I was like, oh, PG-13. Wow. I'm not saying he has to make R-rated stuff, but like, his stuff generally like
that's kind of his thing.
Both director's cuts of Batman vs Superman and his Justice League are clearly rated R. Yeah. But regardless, like this looks pretty cool to me.
It really does feel like
it looks like a comic book come to life.
Yeah, and
there's some cheese inherent to that, but also it's a new science fiction IP, and I want to give it. No, my mind is open to it, and I want to give him some credit. Like, okay,
I'm not clear on this. Is this an adaptation of a book, comic series?
Nope.
Original idea?
It's all original idea. It's clearly taking riffs off certain things like Star Wars and stuff.
That has me more interested then.
And that's why, for whatever cheese factor of this and Zack Snyder-ish of this, and again, I mean, I've defended him before, it was like, beyond his storytelling, the dude can capture a frame. Like, he shoots beautiful shit. And this trailer had stuff where I was like, damn,
there's some stuff cool in it that really did remind me of stuff like Dune, kind of Alita Battle Angel at some parts.
Yeah. I don't think, in watching this, we're going to be like, this is a whole, like,
Yeah,
This is one of the most original things I've ever seen. It's like, no, like I can clearly tell what your inspirations are.
Even the creator, it has some similar looking stuff.
And story that seemed a lot like Terminator.
Yeah.
But it is a new IP. Maybe we can just call it an IP because it's going to be a thing.
And Charlie Hunnam, Jax himself, appearing in it.
And I also
acting like that he always does.
I do also love Sophia Boutella, who is our lead here. I just like her. She has a really good screen presence. Literally one of those people who, even when she's a villain, you're just like, I'm happy you're on screen. Like and I wanted her to get more. She's honestly probably the reason I tolerated Tom Cruise's The Mummy. I was like, well,
she's
cool.
Fun. Yeah.
So that all in all, that hooked me in this, and I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, even Rebel Moon I'm pretty sure that's a thing in Star Wars, isn't it?
I mean, I'm sure the rebels are on a moon somewhere.
I feel like I've heard that before,
but no, it can't be, because if it was, Disney would be.
That's true.
And honestly, I would pay to see this in a theater.
Yeah, I think I even saw like a comment about something like
I saw a comment too. Like I would happily pay
Yeah.
to see this in a theater and support it.
Or I was like, does anyone else think they'll release this in a theater?
They'll do what they did with Glass Onion, and The Killer also got it.
Yep.
It'll have one weekend in limited theaters.
Probably AMC.
So again, where I'm like, why even do that then? And I think Sam Esmail, the creator of Mr. Robot, he has a movie coming out that's all on Netflix that's also going to get that same treatment. That also looks really good. I mean, I guess I kind of get Netflix's point, but I know when Glass Onion came out, it actually, for that 4 fucking days it played, it made a good amount of money to where analysts were going like, why wouldn't you just keep it out here?
Because I think
you're going to get it anyway.
I don't know if we had even started our podcast at that time, but we were both like, I would have saw it in a theater if I'd known.
Yeah.
Like, because I even got like,
and again, as we talked about with Prey, it was like, you should have put this in the theater.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to see it. Like, I'll be interested to see what this is, because like it gave me that feeling of like, it feels like it's going to be way, way more than what this trailer is showing me, which is kind of like, I've been wanting that feeling ever since District 9 existed. Like the trailer to the movie, like combination was like, this is an insanely good movie and I want to see more.
I feel like I feel confident this is going to deliver what the trailer showed me, which is, even if I see the inspirations of where ideas came from, so they're not new, it's a very comfortable feeling like, yeah, but this is stuff that I like. And like, you're giving me like cool versions of the stuff that I like. And maybe you do have like, that's a new take. Like, okay.
And it doesn't look generic. Like it has like its own spirit to it.
Yeah. My only hope is like, don't oversaturate it. Don't stretch. I hope this isn't being stretched out where they're like, make this a 5-movie thing.
Yeah.
If it can just be one. But also maybe if this does do really well and gets whatever metrics Netflix looks for, maybe the second one we'll leave it out for 2 weeks. You can go see it in the theater. We'll let them shoot the third one in IMAX.
Because I would like that. Because I mean, I think there was another show recently that they're showing episodes of it in theaters. I can't remember what it was.
The Blackberry movie apparently has now been redone into a miniseries somehow.
That's strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
I can't imagine that's being shown in theaters.
I'm looking forward to that one. Looks interesting. I guess we can talk about. You want to talk about Shogun? Yep,
last one. But I want to draw attention to it if anyone didn't know. There's a show coming out on Hulu essentially, but it's on FX if you still happen to watch television.
I was surprised when I saw that.
Called Shogun. I think it is based on a book.
Yes, it is. It is a book.
I can't really tell you exactly what's going on. I don't know what the exact story is, other than clearly like a white dude ends up here. Doesn't appear that he's white savior dude. Really just appears like he's lost in the land.
It kind of feels like,
and he's
almost
getting
like a spiritual successor to the Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, that's what I don't think that it is. That from my memory very much was we need Tom Cruise to save us.
Yeah, but I mean like of like a what could have been kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like our entry point into the story, and there's clearly a war already going on in the land.
Yeah.
It does look like there's some white people coming for war too.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of going between languages, which is really nice.
And even in the trailer, these aren't epic looking, but the sword fights look very, very good, and stylish. Not stylized, but stylish and just well shot. And that's not to say that there isn't epicness, because there are some shots in this trailer that are truly epic looking.
Absolutely.
Even down to there's like a brief shot of a ship like crashing through waves, and I know it's CGI. It has to be. But I was like, God damn, that looks
amazing.
Really good. To where, again, you thought it was a movie. And the first time I watched it was like, this looks like a movie.
Yeah, even just now, I really did. And honestly, some of it reminded me of the opening of Mortal Kombat, the way it's colored and stylized, which is the strongest part of that entire movie.
Also be because Scorpion is in it.
That too. But, oh yeah, I guess it is the same actor, huh? I didn't even put that together. But I wonder if anyone that worked on that is attached, because I don't know. That's the way that looked alone is already making me interested. And
that is Hiroyuki Sanada, by the way. Okay. Who's also in John Wick 4.
Yes.
And also, if you don't know him or know his name, like when you see him, you'll be like, oh, he's
pretty sure
that guy.
I think he's in Army of the Dead as well.
He is. He's the one who gives him the job.
Yeah. I like him, and I think this really does look fantastic. Like, I'm gonna watch it.
I mean, FX has done a lot of good work in the past and produces, honestly, really was bringing HBO level stuff to, I guess, basic cable.
I mean, like Sons of Anarchy is really good. It has moments of absolutely terrible visuals, but for the most part, it was pretty good looking show.
I mean, there's a long period of time for me in, I guess, the latter half of Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Justified.
And Mayans.
So I didn't watch any of the Mayans.
I didn't either.
But although I've heard it's very good. Where pretty much if FX was putting any show FX put out, I was like, well, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah.
Just because like in their It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is still one of my favorite.
Oh yeah, of course.
Comedies. I've literally been watching it since it premiered, so almost been half my life. And it really was like to praise that network. Like as they grew, they pretty much became like, you can't afford it. You don't want to get HBO? Don't worry, we'll bring HBO stuff right here.
Yeah.
And eventually, again, they push things. There's stuff like I saw was like, how can you get away with putting this on like cable? And then eventually, they were one of the first ones that said like, fuck.
It's crazy.
And I was like, you can't. You're not allowed to say fuck on basic cable. And
that was a big thing for me.
Turns out that we can.
Yeah, like if it's after a certain period of time at night, you can. And the first time I saw that, I was like, what? But I'm excited for this show for sure. And I mean, yeah, I'll watch it.
Something that came out of the blue for me. I think I just saw like Shogun trailer coming out today. I'm like, Shogun trailer?
It got recommended to me after watching something.
So I was like, let me go look this up. And I was like, oh, this looks great. This would be a show too. Like Game of Thrones, I think did this twice where they didn't premiere them, but they put episodes of their shows into IMAX.
Yeah.
This would be one was like, I'll pay to see that.
I just realized what this show reminds me of. The Terror.
From AMC.
Yeah. It has the same kind of feel to it. Like I guess the seriousness tone overall.
And also goes without saying, like, I assume I'm going to like this, so I also hope that it gets a physical release.
Yeah.
After the fact.
I think FX does a pretty good job of doing physical releases.
They do. And we skipped a show, so we're not ending the show.
Yeah.
We'll end with
Echo. Thank you. I'm really glad you did that. Okay, Disney. What the fuck? Like, this is what you decided to make violent? This is where you decided to do this?
So I know part of it is the violence that got me, but for a show that I think I've even said it on here is like, I had no interest in it. I really felt like should have been the first on the chopping block when things were going bad. I
agreed.
Just don't do it.
Because I did not give a fuck about this character.
After this trailer, I was like, oh, well, I'm actually pretty excited to watch this show now.
And it kind of gives me hope for the Deadpool as well.
And even in its opening seconds when Kingpin is beating that dude against the dumpster and then they'd show like the blood on his hand, even then I was like, huh.
Yeah, how about that?
I was like, okay, well, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they had blood dripping off the shield when an old dude killed guy.
Yeah.
But then as it went on, again, the action scenes we see, like the tone of the trailer itself, actually, this is a very good trailer. It is a very good trailer.
It felt like a Netflix Marvel show. I
would say it felt better.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, to a degree, parts of it was like, I guess you should just give this bitch a movie.
Yeah. And also just Vincent alone as Kingpin is one of my favorite Marvel things to begin with. He's great in that role.
And it actually did make me kind of like, I like this Echo character now. I mean, I didn't dislike her in Hawkeye, but just like, I don't need a show about her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you know what? I said that shit about Peacemaker after Suicide Squad. I was like, that's not who I would pick to make a show.
And now it's your most.
And I'm like, I love this fucking show.
It's probably your favorite one.
Now this did run into issues. It was 8 episodes originally, and now it's only 6.
And they're releasing all at once.
Apparently, because there were some quality control issues, and they're like, So I'm a little hesitant because again, you can make a good trailer. Marvel has made good trailers and been like, oh,
and lied to us in the trailers.
But maybe honestly, that cut down and whatever they did, fix those issues and tighten it up, and it's like, cool.
Yeah,
you're not stretching it further. It needs to go. Just like. This you're just getting this, and the violence clearly. I mean, there's a shot where dude just fucking pops the guy in the head.
Yeah, and there's like actual like blood splatter, and like, oh fuck.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute, what? That I don't even think no.
Yeah.
And then when the trailer ends, and it's just like it literally says update your Disney Plus for mature content. It's like okay,
and
all right.
And I think that's a good way to go because the Marvel stuff is like even like the Secret Invasion. It felt like it should have been really violent.
I don't want to say that it's just the violence of like, okay, now I'm into it. The trailer was good, and I liked this actress. And also, look, it's not even a woke thing. Like, I'm all in support of like an amputee who is actually deaf playing that character. And I mean, I thought in Hawkeye too, is like I bought her as a badass. Like, yep. Like, you're a badass.
That's nothing. That's half the characters that have existed in all of superhero stuff is missing a limb or something.
So I love the not just representation. Honestly, I love that this actress is getting to do this work.
Like they're hiring someone who actually has the characteristics of what they're making.
Again, she was good in Hawkeye. Like, while I did not need it, I felt I didn't need anything else with her.
Yeah,
her arc in Hawkeye was like, I buy like your grief and I get your hunt. Like I get it.
I will say though, if Kingpin wasn't attached to this, probably wouldn't care.
I would say my takeaway when I watched this trailer twice. The first time I watched it, I to myself was like, if they literally pulled the Marvel name off of this, and I wasn't in the know to where I'd be like, there goes a Marvel show. I would have just seen this and be like, this show looks pretty cool. I'll check this out.
That's a really good point. Kind of like how the first season of Mandalorian could not be Star Wars.
You could have pulled and really in that first season, other than Stormtrooper helmets, until the TIE Fighter shows up in the final episode, it's like you wouldn't really know this was Star Wars. Well, I guess. Oh, looks like Yoda.
Yeah. Boba Fett.
And the other part of this too gave me hope of like, okay, and kind of what you're saying is like, so this is the thing you choose to make violent. And I thought about it the second time too. It is odd because like she came out of Hawkeye, which wasn't violent, but you're making it kind of in line with Daredevil,
and
which now leads me to believe that Daredevil is, I guess, going to go.
I mean, he was in this trailer. Daredevil was in the trailer.
Oh yeah, for like a split second.
Like literally a split second.
Which I mean, that show is also getting cut down and completely reshot too.
I'm hoping maybe this is one of the reasons why.
I don't believe and they shouldn't. I don't believe that everything's like, fuck it, we're just gonna make everything. Violent, because like, no, you won't, and I don't want you to.
We talked about that with like the Five Nights at Freddy's. Kids need horror movies too.
Well, this is more, I'm proud of them, and same thing with Deadpool's. Like, if you wanted to build this universe and you did a whole chunk of it, you want to continue this. Look, the comic books, there are comics like a kid's not supposed to read this one.
Yeah,
it's not for kids. So make stuff that's not for kids, and like sometimes it is going to cross over. And maybe it sucks that a kid watched Hawkeye and liked Echo, and it's gonna be like, you're not old enough to watch the Echo show though, because it's a little grown up. So what? They'll be excited when they grow up and like, now I watch Echo. And like, Deadpool is not. Again, I remember when I saw the first Deadpool at the theater, they had a fucking like placard up. Do not take your kid. This is not a regular superhero movie.
Yeah. And I mean, this kind of gives me hope that this show, maybe even the Daredevil show, will just put a nice little bow on Punisher's story, because I loved the Punisher show so much.
He's coming like I think that was confirmed a while ago that Bernthal's coming back.
All the changes and stuff we don't know now, but so it's like
that's one of those things. Like, no, there's a reason you went and got him back, because that's what everybody wants him to be, the Punisher. I'm
still like to this day still shocked at how much I like that show.
And I would again argue, if you're gonna bring him into the MCU, like, he's not a PG-13 character.
He has to be rated R.
And I'd give you a pass on Blade of like, you could do it PG-13, but
it's going to suffer.
I would say that you shouldn't. I'm not saying don't make it like the 90s ones, but allow it to be what it needs to be. And look, there's been precedent in the past, like, you might still make $700 million or $1 billion fucking dollars. Joker, for some fucking reason, made that much money. Yeah. And it's not a bad movie, but I don't like it. Logan also made a shit ton of money. Yeah, that was really trading on the fact of everyone knows who Wolverine is. Yeah. But it was still rated R. And beyond being gory, like, it was an adult movie. Like there's a lot of slow parts in this and this character stuff. Like,
being able to just
make those
slow
stories
it down.
And that's been Marvel's issue too.
Let characters talk.
Everything you're making is identical. So who cares?
I mean, that's part of what made the first Iron Man so successful, is most of it is story building, talking, not fighting other creatures.
And make it exciting. And also realize too, like, look, not everyone's going to see everything you make, even if it was good, because maybe I just don't care about that character, so I'm not going to go see that movie.
Yeah.
Like, you have to accept that. Like, just because it's Marvel doesn't mean, well, I'm going to go see it, I guess. Like, no, look, I didn't really like Thor, so I didn't go see the first Thor movie or the second one. I saw the first one before I saw Avengers, because I guess I need to.
You've still never seen the second one, yeah?
Nope.
That still is so funny to me.
But now I like Thor because of Ragnarok, but now for Love and Thunder, be like,
now I hate Thor.
I can give or take if he's whatever. I'm saying it's just like the comics. Like, no, I didn't. There are people like who love Marvel's. Like, still, I'm not going to buy like everything you make, because like, I don't like that. I don't give a shit about Squirrel Girl. So if you make a Squirrel Girl movie, probably not going to go see it.
Yeah.
I guess if James Gunn makes it, it'll be like, well, I mean, let's see.
I mean, yeah, like.
But that's the thing. I think they got caught up in I think Guardians, first one probably is what did it for him. Is like, fuck, we just made a movie about a raccoon in a tree and it worked.
We can do anything.
We can do anything.
It doesn't work that way.
But again, it's like, you can do anything, but you need to understand not every one of them is going to make this.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to see every one of these heroes do the exact same fucking thing. I don't want to see them fight a villain who has their same powers. I want to see something different. So this Echo thing that's probably what it did, is like, this looks different.
And also at the
fuck,
bottom
I'd
level,
even give the Hawkeye shows like, that was different. That wasn't exactly
like at the bottom level of all of that, they're human. There's no superpowers involved with this.
I think Echo does actually have some powers. She's kind of like Daredevil a little bit.
But it's like, at the same time, it's like that's just kind of like an extra ability that like most people don't have. Kind of a deal.
Yes, true. I think that's
she's not shooting webs out of her hands, and she's not glowing red.
It's weird that the only Marvel thing I'm actually excited for now is Echo.
Yeah,
is a show that I thought they shouldn't make. The first show I thought, like, cut that. And my immediate takeaway as soon as the trailer's over was like, fuck, I really want to see that. And actually, I'll probably watch the whole thing on January 10th.
I forget what the last MCU thing we talked about was that we actually did an episode on, because we
Guardians.
Okay.
And before that was Ant-Man.
Yeah, and that's the episode that didn't make it.
Take this a note. Marvel's has done worse than Ant-Man.
Yeah. I think I said in the Ant-Man one, which no one will ever hear, that I was
that's
tired.
the one. That's our episode that's fucked up.
Yeah. I was tired of Marvel. And I think in the Guardians when I was like, this is the perfect place to jump off.
I do still hold to that.
And I think I'm pretty checked out.
Because from what I understand, Captain America 4, because it looks like they've changed the title. It was New World Order.
Yeah, it was New World Order.
Now it's called Brave New World.
I feel like New World Order was too edgy of a title.
Well, to me, it indicated to me like where they were taking the story, presumably, but it really doesn't matter. But I think that it was largely, well, I guess it was all shot, because now we're learning oh, your way of making movies is you just shoot a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And I guess now pushing the year, like, you're going to go back and reshoot a lot of it. So you got to go get Harrison Ford back. He's going to be pretty pissy about that.
Yes, he will be.
And I hope that they do make actual course corrections in those two movies, because the stories that I think they're trying to tell with that could be cool stuff. And again, maybe if Echo does well, we're not going to get a rated R Captain America movie. No. But I saw it as they were leading towards like the Dark Avengers and like things falling apart. I'm on board for that. Yeah. Do that. And maybe if Echo does well, they will be like, I guess we can make things a little bit dark. Let's do something different.
Just take liberties. Make something different. Don't stay to the same shit.
Take a risk. First of all, you've made 30-something movies that have made $28 billion. You just had to, now you've had your actual first bomb. Again, I'll point out, worse than the Eternals. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the Eternals. Maybe I should go watch it and be like, hey, you know what? I guess this isn't that bad.
Don't watch it. No. It's terrible.
I'm not, because I don't think that anything in it's going to come back into play ever. And I think that's a smart move. Just be like, they're out there, but like, don't worry about it.
The only way I feel like you should watch Eternals is if we do a commentary.
If in any way any of them come back into play before, I still hold to my theory from, I don't know, first or second episode of this whole multiverse saga is set up to literally reset the MCU and we're just going to start over again. And that's not a critique. I think that's a good move. Not even just artistically, just makes sense of like, you can bring a new cast. You can bring Iron Man back as someone new, and presumably you have a better skill set now of telling universe stories.
What you should, you think.
Although clearly you have missed a step.
It's actually kind of insane of how like wildly terrible stuff has been with Marvel.
Again, someone pointed out that they're doing exactly what they did in the 90s with comic books, where they overdid it and it bankrupted them. And that's why they sold all their characters, most of their characters. Which is why the MCU started with literally their B-rate characters, because they sold all the other ones. And they just had to make do with what they had.
And they still can't actually use the Hulk completely, which is still funny.
I think that ends this year.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because
maybe they might need the money.
It's weird that the only company that really pulled off this universe thing now is just as bad as everyone else. But it's
their fault.
It goes back to corporate greed of like, it worked before because even when they were kind of formulaic, you were doing different stuff with them and you were trying. Yeah. And presumably to a degree, you let your directors kind of be like, I'm going to make this.
And also, like, it doesn't hurt that
taking everything from them, like, we'll edit it together now. Thank you for shooting it.
Yeah.
And also, we don't know what we're doing. I still believe there's probably a good movie in Ant-Man 3 that they just butchered in editing. So I was like, this.
I guarantee it.
I doubt we can find it now, but like, it was in there probably.
It's in the multiverse somewhere, right?
Right.
Is there a multiverse out there?
But then to the point, I guess we'll wrap it up. But there's been, it's not even rumor. Like, it's news where they're now considering, like, I guess we need to bring back the original Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
No, that's not the problem.
One, and look, I get it too. I know that probably Chadwick Boseman dying probably did throw off. Like he clearly was what would be the leader of the Avengers and be your Iron Man replacement and kind of hang stuff on him. Yeah. But the problems you're doing here, I mean, other than Wakanda Forever, which beyond my issues with, like, Ryan Coogler covered his death, like, well, I mean, again, you can see that there are two different fucking movies going on in that
Maybe
one.
even three.
But it didn't affect Doctor Strange. It didn't affect all these, like, this is all because you're just trying to churn these out. You're not giving your artist time to tell the story they want to tell. You're not giving the visual artist time to, like, I can't fucking make Hulk in 20 minutes. Like, it takes time.
I don't know, the Thor
You want
movie,
this kid's head to float right here? Like, it will look bad. So it doesn't matter.
With Thor, like, I can't believe it. Like, that movie still to this day, it's still shocking to me of how terrible it was.
I have heard that the visual effects in the Marvels are mostly better.
I'm not surprised at that.
Except for the Beast part, which I do also feel like it's probably the last thing.
Minute. Yep.
It's like, we got to give this movie something that people will like. So fuck it, X-Men are here now.
I wonder if we could go and see the Marvels and be the only people in the theater like I was with Thor.
By this week, probably. I mean, probably.
That's still like one of the funniest things to me is being like, people spend money to rent out theaters.
I saw Thor in a theater by myself. Yeah. Granted, it was in the middle of the day on a weekday, but
I think mine was like 3 o'clock on a weekday.
Summer or whenever that movie came out. Like, you think one other like loser would have walked in, but nope. Yep. Just me.
Even like an old person.
It was very like coming to the theater early in the afternoon. I got to be in sleep by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, gotta get to bed. Gotta get to church. Gotta get to bed.
But yeah, lots of cool stuff that's coming out.
Of course, the stuff we highlighted is stuff we're actually interested in watching. If we're gonna like it or hate it, there's a ton of other things that have also released trailers. There, it's like, fuck.
If you do listen to the show, I'm gonna say write in on any of our socials or emails or email.
Yeah. shallowcinemashow@gmail.com.
But also tell us if there's something that you want. If there's something you recommend, let us know.
Yeah.
But also, if there's stuff that you guys want us to watch, it's like, look, Nemo wants me to watch some Adam Sandler stuff, and I don't want to, but like,
there's a new Adam Sandler movie coming out next week as well.
Is that Jennifer Aniston?
No, it's called Liz, I believe, and it's about a lizard. It's an animated movie on Netflix. It actually looks great.
Did he make it? Is it part of his deal?
I think so.
No, shit. But
it looks nice.
I'll watch Rango instead.
It's the same thing.
But yeah, let us know, because like, we could have gone to see the Marvels and reviewed it, but at this point, for that movie, I don't think it matters. And
honestly, by the time I put out an episode, it's going to be irrelevant.
And as the audience showed, like, you all already decided what you're going to do about that movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if there's stuff that's coming out you want us to see that maybe we didn't talk about, if enough of you want us to see it, I will force myself to go see it.
Yeah, and it's the same for me. Like, obviously, you can tell really, like, this is a great podcast for us or an episode, because you can tell what we're passionate about.
It is a great podcast for us because it's our podcast. This is really the only podcast where I could be.
Fair. But it really shines out of like what the things that you like in movies and what I like in movies. And I don't know, it's a good time with all the strike stuff over with. Hopefully people are listening. Like the studios are actually listening.
I wish I could be hopeful with that.
I'm not hopeful whatsoever.
I'm glad everyone got what they wanted. But like I said, we're going to be back in this spot in 3 years. And this time they're going to bank content. That's what we make. Mm-hmm. They're going to bank content. Like, nope, we got stuff in the vault now. Like, you all go ahead and take your strike for a year. Like, we got stuff. Zaslav's got a whole bunch of stuff we can show to people. You want to see Batgirl? We got Batgirl.
Batgirl time.
And now, because it's been this long, we don't have to pay anybody. Or because you're on strike, we don't have to pay you.
Well, any final thoughts with
what was the top trailer for you?
I'd say the one that definitely got me the most hyped up was probably the Avatar one.
I'm going to give it to... I did really like Godzilla -1. It just looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm weary of Echo because Marvel's led me astray for the last 3 years.
I'm kind of weary of Legacy of Monsters because of the writing in Kong versus Godzilla.
But I'm going to give it to Shogun.
Yeah.
Just I'm really pumped about that show.
I'd say out of everything that we have on our list, that will probably be the best thing.
And that is one I'll watch this week to week.
Yeah. I'm down for that one too, actually.
So I guess in was it February when that comes out?
I think so.
So in February, I look forward to every episode getting a mini review of this week's Shogun episode.
I like that. That sounds fun. And I think another one of these shows starts dropping in February as well. I'm not sure which one though.
Oh, Echo comes out. Oh no, that's January.
Yeah.
That all comes out one day. Yeah. So you'll just get a review of that.
Yeah, we can just talk about it. But yeah, Any that you think are going to be an absolute bomb?
No. There was a couple movies we took off this list where we're just like, oh, we don't need to talk about this. Like Lisa Frankenstein, which is like,
It's probably
it's a funny like concept, and the trailer itself was like fun, but the trailer itself felt like
that's the movie.
This is the. It's not even you're giving away the movie. It's like this is just the movie, and like, I'll just watch this.
Yep.
What a fun thing you did. No, I don't think anything's going to be a bomb. I think that Monarch is going to be a landmark show for Apple TV.
For sure.
I think Godzilla -1 is going to be a huge thing for Godzilla.
I'm curious to see what the American numbers will be for that movie.
I'm sure there's a lot of audiences probably just get confused with the legendary Godzilla and be like, oh.
Yeah, fair.
And we still have Godzilla X Kong is also still scheduled for next year.
I think it did get pushed back
a whole year
to 2025.
2025 is, you know what's weird? This is almost like a pandemic again.
Oh, yeah.
Where everything's like, fuck it. Everything's going to go back to a whole year. So now this year's going to be crammed with good stuff.
Yep.
But this coming year is going to be pretty light. I'm looking forward to a year with only one Marvel movie.
I feel like it gives a chance for a lot of indie stuff to make like leeway.
And we'll have a 5 Nights at Freddy's next year too. Because for sure they're going to get that done in a year.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I do kind of have a feeling that Ghostbusters might bomb.
Afterlife, didn't.
That's just going to be my
there's
wary prediction.
Afterlife's draw was like that we kind of knew, we suspected that I guess the originals were back.
Yeah.
This trailer showed us. So I don't, unless it's real bad.
You know what, I'm going to say not money-wise, but critically.
Maybe. I don't remember what the critic consensus was on Afterlife.
I'm not sure either. Well, audience and critic.
I'm more interested in this Ghostbusters than Afterlife because it is like, this just looks like a Ghostbusters adventure.
Yep.
I don't think you should keep making these movies. But if you're gonna, then just make them
like one-off.
Almost
stories.
like James Bond adventures. Like this time, this is happening.
But no, we need a universe, dude.
I almost think like live services, maybe studios are starting to realize like, or we're not good at this universe thing, so we're not gonna do it.
We give up.
Or also because we just give up. And we did that one too many times, so now you don't even start until we're at least 2 or 3 movies in because like, I don't trust you're gonna finish it. Fuck, I do that with some shows. I'm like, that show looks too cool, so there's no way that Netflix isn't going to cancel it.
Yeah, like
I think there was some show like Tape 81 or Case 81 or something on Netflix that people were recommending to me. You recommended to me
the boat.
Yeah, the boat show.
Yeah,
I was like, that looks cool, and then it's like it's canceled.
I forgot the name of it, but I was actually thinking about the trailer for that when we were getting ready to do this podcast.
It was tied to that show, The Dark or whatever.
Yeah, with same creators or something. Like,
and you showed him, he's like, yeah, I'd watch that, and it was like, it's canceled. Well, then I'm not even going to bother, I guess, because like. You're just going to resolve nothing.
Yep.
I think that should be next time when they have to do this negotiation, should also force studios that they have to sign a contract saying if you're going to start a universe or start a long form story,
have a plan.
No, fuck them. You have to finish it. Like, if you're going to start it,
that's a good point
then
too.
you have to finish it because fuck Hollywood movie studios. There should be an edict now if you're going to start it.
If you're doing something like that.
If you're doing something, imagine if Disney's like got episode 7 and 8 of the new Star Wars done. It was like,
we're done.
This doesn't really work, so we're just going to stop.
It's like, okay.
Like, no, finish.
It's like making the first 2 Lord of the Rings and then
again,
not
that's bullshit. Like, you got the money from money or viewership or whatever. Like, I've been watching this. I'm into the story now. I would like to know how it ends.
Let's finish it. Yeah, it's it's like even for like book series that don't finish a lot of times.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. but there is a plan in place for another author to come in and finish it.
It's when he dies, someone will finish it or not because it's just like, fuck it. The show is how it ended.
A lot of stuff like that has happened where like, okay,
I kind of feel
I've got a plan, but I'm still doing it. If I die, finish it.
I feel like George honestly probably wasn't ever going to finish that book anyway once the show started. But then definitely like once that ending happened, it's like, fuck. No, I'm not. I don't want any of that smoke.
Meanwhile, in 2025, we'll get the next part of the Game of Thrones, and it's going to be like 3,000 pages.
Doesn't he work on House of Dragons?
Yeah, you think
dude, he's not right.
Time.
He's not right. As soon as that show became popular, I was like, he's not going to finish that book. Why would he? He's making all the money he could possibly ever want.
You know what? Good job, Robert Kirkman. You finished The Walking Dead.
Twice, technically. Well, I guess the show's not dead yet.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something that, and then we'll be done. I heard that I don't know if Amazon is the one looking to do it or someone else, but they're looking to do a live action Invincible. Whoa. And it's just like, why? Because it was popular. Because the animated thing was popular. It's perfect the way it is. Just leave it alone.
That would be a really weird one.
And if I wanted live action gory superhero, I also have The Boys.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So it's literally just like, oh, you saw something that was popular and made money, so you're like, oh, let's do this. No,
It's
don't.
already on your fucking network. Like,
Again, I don't know if it was Amazon who was the one. I guess it would be.
but I mean, they're both.
But maybe
yeah.
they don't, because rights can be weird. Sometimes some of these companies, like, I mean, shit, Lord of the Rings is like that. Like, Amazon owns the rights
Oh
to
yeah,
TV and this and this and
That's
this.
yeah, fair. Yeah,
But video game rights exist with this. So maybe Amazon just has the rights to do animated with Invincible. Maybe someone else is like, I can make a live action Invincible.
AMC's Invincible.
Dude, I mean, that could be, honestly, it could be what it is.
That would suck.
Because I assume maybe Kirkman, I guess Kirkman still works with them too.
I don't want to watch that.
I don't think anybody would. Because why would we? We're getting it right here. But the fact that they're thinking about it is like, why? There's so many other things that you could go make.
That's so frustrating.
Fucking make a Metroid show. Do anything that's not been done. Nah, the algorithm said that you all like this.
Stop with the superhero stuff, please. Just
I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with when they're doing new stuff with it. Like I said, I like the boy. I love Invincible, and I really like the boy.
see now the boys they're walking a fine line because a new show, the Gen
V. I didn't watch Gen V. I haven't watched Amazon.
I haven't watched it yet, but
Apparently there is some sort of plot twist that ties into the boys.
yeah, you have to watch it before the next season of the boys. It's like,
don't. YouTube will tell me.
Yeah, fucking don't do that. Stop that.
I mean, but that is like that is universe building though, right? Like it is fun if you were enjoying it and you did watch both.
I don't want a universe.
You would be excited, but I agree with you in terms of like, don't make it where you have to. That was Disney's problem with the Marvel shows, where they said like, you're not going to have to watch the shows, and it's like, nope, clearly you do.
Now you do,
because again, like I said, Doctor Strange. You didn't watch WandaVision. You have no fucking idea why why she has kids
at all, or even what happened to Vision. Like,
it's more fun, and I can't think of an example. And I feel like you've given one when there are things like that, but they're so subtle and small that it's like, if you don't know this, then it doesn't matter.
Planet of the Apes is a good one.
But if you do know this, it's rewarding you for like, oh, are you a nerd about this? Well, look, there it is. We referenced that thing. Like, great.
That's fine with me. Like Easter eggs, basically, that turn into something else.
Essentially. And it can even be like big Easter eggs where it's like part of the story. But again, like if you know this stuff, like you really know what's going on. It's like, oh, Kayla fucking hates that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, what? Kayla, what? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, maybe you'll see in a few years. You know what? Maybe even like going back into Marvel stuff, all these MacGuffins being like, hey, I wonder, could that be an Infinity Stone? Like, nah, that's not an Infinity Stone. And then when Ultron or something came out, it's like, oh, I guess they were Infinity Stones.
Yeah, that was fun. And even the Thanos reveal in Avengers was like, if you don't know, you're just like, oh, that was the big bad.
Yeah.
But if you were a nerd, you're like, it's fucking Thanos.
Then he shows up again in Ultron. It's like, hey, look, it's Thanos. Like, yeah, stuff like that. That's fine with me. But making it to where, yeah, you have to watch this, and this.
If you're gonna give me homework
to watch it,
go fuck yourself. As again, it's how I felt with Ari Aster stuff with Hereditary. It's like if I have to go look shit up to understand what was happening, bad storytelling.
But if it's like, oh, if I can read this and it makes it better, good storytelling.
Or
like if the movie itself was a good movie,
like in Boba Fett, where it has 2 episodes of Mandalorian, where it's like, what if someone didn't want to watch Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Now they have no idea why Grogu is back with Mandalorian. Just he is.
Yeah. Like,
or actually, I guess what you want is like, go watch Boba Fett, and then you'll find out. I don't wanna. I just like the Mandalorian.
Fuck all that stuff. I don't want to have to deal with a tie-in to watch something that you're presenting as like a massive thing.
Again, and actually, I think that is studio shit. I don't think it's even writers or creatives that there's like make them watch everything.
Because like even with Infinity War and Endgame, you didn't have to watch all of it. There's stuff you should probably have seen, at least the Avengers movies, but you didn't have to watch Black Panther. It would make it better.
Nah, you don't need to watch Black Panther. It doesn't do anything.
But like, well, I guess like it might add to your enjoyment.
You know what? I'm gonna show Endgame to my mother, who's never seen a single Marvel movie. We're just gonna like start here, and then review it. I want you to tell me like, what do you think is going on?
Sure.
I guess I would have to show her at least Infinity War first.
Yeah. Has she ever seen The Lord of the Rings? Just go show her the extended version of Return of the King.
Nope, none of that. I've started her on Westworld though, and she's into that. So
how about that?
All right. Well, I don't know what the next episode's going to be, but this is the inaugural episode of season 2, and you can reach us at
shallowcinemashow@gmail.com and on X at shallow_cinema, and also on YouTube.
I hate that.
You hate that?
I hate that you messaged me like someone retweeted a thing that we did,
and it's still.
And what did I ask you?
I think verbatim you asked me, are they still called tweets on X, or are they called like something else.
And you're like, no, there's still tweets.
Yeah, there's still tweets.
And I think my immediate response was, that's dumb.
Yeah, you could still go to just www.twitter.com and it's still, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you'd call them, like my exes. I X'd it. Fucking twats. Anyway, I've been Blackjack Vower.
And I've been Nemo.
Thanks for listening. Like, share, repeat, all the things.
Trailer starts now.